We are live on the internet.
Why does it say the stream is paused on Discord?
Oh, because I'm tapped out of the game, and it's. I'm currently just going to go around and.
Are we live currently?
Yes, we're live.
There we go.
Shiny, why didn't you start the game and then start the live?
The game is started. It's just tabbed off, so it's paused.
Shiny, you goober. Shiny, you ignorant slut.
Here?
How could you? But you were supposed to be ready. You lied. You said you were ready. We are not ready.
But what do you want from me here? How am I not? I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Revenar is in the chat. How you doing, Revenar? It's good to acknowledge whoever's in the chat.
The Revan is in chat?
The Revan. We're going to be talking about Superman.
I love this movie.
It's freaking great. We'll get the darn game going, and then we can start talking about it.
Well,
We've been talking about it even before the stream.
We can talk about this right now. It's all on record. I'm just sharing the stream, okay? I'm just putting it in Twitter, and I'm putting it in Discord, so there are people that can watch and know that we're live.
Shiny,
Superman
goober.
sucks. Goodbye.
Everybody, now at the time. Oh wait.
The Slider cultists were right. Man of Steel is better. Man of Steel superiority.
So Eerie's a bit louder. I can
Restored
turn her down on my
Spider-Verse.
side. Eerie, speak.
Oh. Hello. Am I still too loud?
No.
My apologies.
I've sorted it. The problem is because usually your mic is so bloody quiet, I've got you turned up a bit.
I see.
Yeah, because I remember last time I was on one of your streams, Shiny, I sounded really loud, and I didn't sound like that on Discord, so I just quickly checked the stream itself. I seem to sound fine. Chat, please tell me if I sound fine, please. Because I can't tell on Discord.
You sound fine on
Trust
my
me,
side.
chat will be able to tell you everything. Chat is the all-knowing.
Yes.
So yeah, Superman 2025. It is. I'm gonna come out on and say it. Hopefully the game isn't a bit loud because I can't alter the sound settings until it gets through this fucking cutscene.
It's a lot on my end. Sorry, I should probably just turn it.
There we go.
Turn
I
it down
can.
on my end.
There we go. Turn it down.
Yeah.
That works. Okay. So Superman 2025. I think it is easily the best movie of this year. It doesn't have much competition. Well, we have the Minecraft movie that came out. We have Thunderbolts, Captain America, and only one of those did better in it, and that's Minecraft.
Oh, how could you forget Jurassic World Rebirth, Shiny? That film as well.
Oh, the movie that... Jurassic Park shouldn't be a movie franchise.
It really shouldn't.
It never needed to be a movie franchise.
Yeah,
it was a good movie, we didn't need more of them.
Yeah, I rewatched it with She because she's been meaning to rewatch it for a long time. And we watched it, we're like, yeah, this communicates all the themes and ideas this series ever needed to convey in the first film. Leave it alone. Anyway, move along. Yeah.
It's not even like it's an expensive world to explore either.
No.
And then you packaged it, and you resold it, and now you wanna...
You're selling it. You gotta sell it well.
Do the line, man. Do it. I can't remember.
No, you're selling it. You're selling it.
Yeah.
Much more personal.
But yeah,
Dropped whether or not they could. Did stop thinking they should. Anyway, move along.
It's not the patient.
It's funny. It's Jurassic Park became its own self-fulfilling prophecy for the franchise.
Yeah, pretty much. It's rather funny.
Scan the screen on Joker.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Superman's the best film to come out this year.
What other movies come out this year?
I saw Warfare earlier this year. and that was really good. Though that's a very different kind of film. That's not like a blockbuster or anything like that. That's like sort of like based on real life war film. It's like quite hard hitting. You don't watch it for fun.
I'll walk back my comment there because I'll admit I haven't seen many of the new movies out this year. Like, I've seen this and the Minecraft movie.
I'd say this is the blockbuster to beat, like the big mainstream film to beat, ready for the year.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how it continues forward because I love this movie. I honestly I was a bit more skeptical going in. I was kind of skeptical with the trailers. I didn't think the marketing looked that great. But I was very happily surprised, and I enjoyed it so much that I sort of played down my original thoughts was that it was an 8, and then I thought if I'm being really critical, it's probably about a 7. And probably after thinking about it, I rested it at 7.5. I actually got out of the cinema not too long ago on my second watch of the movie. The second time I've ever gone to the cinema to watch any movie. And I think it's very comfortably an 8. I think it's actually higher than Iron Man, which I think is the easy go-to comparison, because they are quite simple establishing movies of how this world and how everything works and establishing a new character.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I saw it last night, and I went with my sister, and I was able to get a read on what James Gunn's writing style was, and what I noticed is that James Gunn writes in layers when it comes to every element of this film. When it came to the characters, when it came to the themes, when it came to the settings, when it came to conflicts even, there was never just one thing going on in each of those elements. And anytime he feels like it's lingering too long on something, he will either add or subtract an element. Let me add or subtract a layer. So let me give an example. At any given time of the movie, there are at least 2 or more conflicts happening at one time. So at the beginning of the movie, we have like this big kaiju fight, right? We have the kaiju, but not only is he trying to fight the kaiju, he's also trying to fight the kaiju from, stepping on people. He's pushing it out of the way from toppling on top of the tower. And not only that, he's trying to make sure the kaiju is alive. So he's trying to defeat the kaiju, he's trying to contain the kaiju, and he's trying to make sure it stays alive. And then when the Justice League, the Justice Gang comes in, and they're like trying to kill it, he's basically arguing with them at the same time not to kill it. So that's another conflict. So it's never just one singular conflict at any given time. And then notice, like near the end of the film, there were 3 different conflicts happening at once. There was Lex Luthor in his building. There was the Omni-Man. It wasn't Omni-Man. It was Omni. What was his name? The clone.
Oh, Ultraman.
Ultraman. Thank you. There was Lex Luthor, Ultraman, and the fabric of the universe is being torn in half. So anytime James Gunn kind of feels like the audience needs something else, he will add or subtract a layer. Oh, and not only that, those three, Lex Luthor, Ultraman, the world is falling apart, and then the war that was happening between those two countries out in the Middle East somewhere.
I think this describes as Eastern Europe, actually.
Something like that.
The architecture feels much more Middle Eastern.
You've never let me catch you.
Yeah, it does. So essentially, it's never lingering on one of those conflicts. James Gunn is essentially a master literary juggler, in which when it's one element, when one layer feels like it's lingering for too long, he'll add another, or he'll take away one and then go back to the first one, and then he'll add a 4th one and then go back to the second one. He does this juggling act where conflicts become all are present at the same time and they're resolved at different times. So it's giving you a sense of both dread and accomplishment as an audience. I also notice he does this when it comes to character writing as well as emotion. There's only one scene throughout the entire film where there's only one layer of emotion, but everything else has separate layers. So take the whole interview between Clark Kent and Lois, right? So not only are they having this interview, but they're also fighting in the background with the details of the politics that are happening. They're also kind of throwing a couple quips and jokes at each other. But then we're going back to, oh, isn't this supposed to be an interview? Yeah, it is. And then we get back to being personal again. That's how he layers on all of these he has tonal layers to it, and he'll add and subtract depending on the situation, and that's what makes it feel very realistic. Because in real life, a lot of life has layers of how we feel about things, and just so many things happening at once that it feels unique, and that's how it feels organic. And then the only time where, say tension is like there's only one layer of tone was during the speech in, Lex Luthor's in his lair, and it's like, oh, I'm human too. I make mistakes. I wake up every day despite not knowing what the right answer is, and it was actually allowed to sit and settle because it was so poignant. It was supposed to sit on its own. When it came to other elements, so for instance, when it came to the video with his family, he has this emotional connection with this video, and it's played on loop, and then there's more of the video, and then, oh no, it has extra meaning that's terrible, which is that they sent him to take over Earth, essentially. And then at the end, where the robots are like, oh, we should play the video of his parents again. It soothes him and makes him happy. If we think, oh, it's gonna be his, why does he care about his old parents again? And then it plays his Kansas family, and he really likes watching his actual childhood, and that's another layer to it. So everything has all of these unique and very organic layers, and James Gunn takes advantage of the fact that the audience has only one attention span, and he gamifies it. So, where was I going? Do y'all see what I mean? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to take up so much airtime at the beginning.
Also, you're saying a lot, still a lot of stuff I didn't think about with this film, so I'm happy to let you go ahead before I give my two cents on it.
Yeah. So that's also, he has this thing of zooming into situations and then zooming right back out, and then he keeps undulating between small details and then the general situation, where, say there's like the fight that Superman's having while he's flying, right? It'll zoom out and you'll see like they're hitting and punching each other, and then it'll zoom in and it's like the S on his chest, and it's like a hopeful moment, and then it zooms back out, it's the conflict again, and it zooms back in, and like the nano stuff is going into his lungs, and then it zooms back. He keeps doing this undulating motion with the camera and the writing, so that way it not only feels like we're getting a front row seat, but we're getting the layers of detail. So for instance, another example, when the Earth is breaking apart and New York is basically evacuating, I noticed a shot where we just zoom in on a woman holding a tank with turtles in it, and then we zoom right back out, and then we zoom right back into a family inside a car, like a mom trying to rush her kids into the car, and then we zoom back out, and then we'll see people running, and then go back into some details, and it just plays with your attention span, where it feels like it has this organic feel. I don't want to say like, oh, it feels like you're really there. No, but it has this organic feel of all of these details that a panicked mind would just go in and out and in and out, and create different meaning and feeling and tone. So that's how James Gunn gamifies the fact that people have a singular attention span while having multiple things happen at once, and it's really fascinating. So what do you guys think? Am I on the money with this one?
Yeah, it's to give my 2 cents of the film. I guess it's my go. I really enjoyed the film. I was a bit like Shiny, where I kind of went into it trepidatious, even before like the trailers and all that. When I just heard James Gunn was taking control of the DC like films, and was going to, even before it was announced that he was going to direct, because I think it was originally announced that he was just going to write the film. Even when I just said he was just going to write Superman, despite being a fan of Gunn, I was a bit trepidatious about it. I was like, is he actually the man to do this? Like, first off, in terms of like juggling like a full-on universe on his own, I've yet to really see, and I'm still skeptical about that aspect, in the sense that I need to see more from his credentials as a producer and like sort of story shepherd.
Yeah, it's one thing trying to making on one story, but when you're trying to build an entire universe, there's a lot at stake.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've yet to see like much from him as a producer. All we know now is that he can write Superman and juggle a lot of characters and create a world. It's just maintaining it now with like different creators and artists with different visions. So my sense of this actual film was like, I was trepidatious at first because I was like, James Gunn, he's really good at like his credentials at this point were, for me, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, because I don't think 3 was out yet, but it might have been out, and the Suicide Squad. I really love the Guardians of the Galaxy films. They have a special place in my heart. I really enjoy his Suicide Squad film a hell of a lot more than the 2016 one. But it's also got that is like, before this film, his only forte into DC, and it was definitely his weakest work. It's got a lot of like plotting issues. It's got really strong character stuff. It has a lot of what Eerie says is in Superman. There's a lot of really excellent stuff in that film, but again, it's got a lot of plotting and world building issues that really bog it down. Like, they're also quite egregious at points.
You think so? Egregious. Can you give an example?
There's a lot. It's been a while since I've seen the film, but just generally a lot of like characters survive a lot of bullshit in that film.
They kind of do, yeah.
They survive a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of like just really silly moments in it. Like like the fact they're able to like assassinate an entire camp of people without anyone really noticing. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they were just walked in.
There's a lot of that in that film. But it's one of those weird films where the plot is kind of a garbled mess, but the characters somehow emerge unscathed as like characters. Like, they're great in the film. Like, they're very consistent. Normally, like, one affects the other. Like, when you have like because characters push the plot, and the plot pushes the characters. So when one falters, typically the other will falter, and you get a bad film. But that's a weird film where the plot and characters interact, but the characters just get out unscathed. But the plot is just a garbled mess still. It's weird. But yeah, so that's just the context of me going into with Superman, because I was like, Superman compared to like the Suicide Squad or Guardians is a lot more like sort of sincere and less sort of referential in terms of like, and a lot more like sort of clear cut sort of Boy Scout compared to like the sort of weird and wacky characters in those two other IPs they tackled that very much have like more questionable morals, are definitely a lot more cynical, and like selfish in a lot of ways. There's still like an earnestness to them, and like sincerity. So I was a bit like, how's Gunn going to approach it? And also, I wasn't sure about like, he has quite a in-your-face, like, I think you described it almost like ADHD like sort of style to his directing, which I really enjoy for Suicide. I think it works really well for Suicide Squad and Guardians. But I was like, does that work with? Because my picture of Superman was very much the 78 Richard Donner film, which has that quite sort of classical Hollywood like very like long takes, like really like nice sort of vistas, all that stuff. That was kind of my interpretation of like how I always just viewed Superman. Like, if I was to make a Superman film. I wouldn't make it like the '78 film because that film's got a lot of goofiness in it and it's quite dated. But that's kind of the approach I take in terms of like the style. So I was a bit like, how is like I struggle to see like a gun Superman film. Don't get me wrong, I thought when it was announced that he was taking over, I thought and still think he's a much safer pair of hands than we were under like Nolan, David Goyer, Snyder. A much safer pair of hands. I know like even if it didn't work, like there'd be like like he'll fucking try, and the end result would be better. So I kind of went in. So I saw the trailers, and I was still like, like, how's this like? I'm still not sure. Then I listened to like some of the interviews of him like reading comics of like Superman, and how he like he looked into like the '78 film and all that, and like how he talked about approach to Superman. I was like, okay. So I wasn't sure about the actual look of the film in the trailers. I was like, I'm still unsure. And then I went into like when I got to the film, I thought it'd be like again like the Suicide Squad type situation where I think I like the characters and I'd want to see more, but I'm not like this feels like this will be an overstuffed mess and it wouldn't really work in terms of like as like a sound foundation for a new universe. And going into it in a way, yeah, it still is a bit overstuffed, I think, in terms of like the characters and how much it's juggling. Like it does mean that some of the themes and like ideas that this film's going for do have a bit of a neat wrap, a bit of a wrap up that's a bit too neat for my liking. And I think you can like maybe a little lacking in nuance. And like, I know it's like a family film, but at the same time, like again, me and you, like we watched Jurassic Park like earlier today, and that like delves into really complex themes quite effortlessly, and that's aiming for a similar age range, and that's a film that came out in the '90s, so I think you can do it. But still, for the most part, I was pleasantly surprised watching it. I really enjoyed it. Like it's got the James Gunn hallmarks, but also it's incredibly like it's definitely his most sincere film. Like it very much wears its heart on its sleeve. It's again like yeah, it's a bit overstuffed, but I love all the characters and I love how we just all thrown into this world. It respects its audience enough to be like you get all this, like like it understands the zeitgeist it's in. Like this isn't like Iron Man or even like Man of Steel where it's like okay you need to set some of this up. It's like no we get it, we can all throw you in. It's kind of like what I liked about when Spider-Man was folded into the MCU, they threw him into it, which I appreciated, although I do think this is a lot better than those films. I very much love a lot of what it's trying to do in terms of its themes and ideas. I think it executes them fairly well, if maybe a bit simplistic. David Cornsweet, I really like him as Superman. I think he's really great in this film. It's exactly the kind of Superman I want. Although there is a bit of a funny where I kind of get the impression that the film's almost like overcorrecting for Man of Steel, where it's like it gets to the point where he's like saving like squirrels, like it's taking time to save like a squirrel from like Carnage, which is cute, and I'm fine with it. But it's definitely an element of like you had Man of Steel in the back of your head, and about like the criticisms for like just the insane collateral damage in that film. But don't get me wrong, but make no mistake, I really enjoyed this. And I'm very eager to see. I'm definitely a lot more optimistic about this universe going forward, and I would like to see more. Which is probably the biggest praise I can really give. I want to see more.
Yeah.
That's really my 2 cents. Like my TLTR, my thoughts on it.
I think it's kind of what I always wanted from a Superman movie, which is why emotionally it resonates really well. I think it's funny that for some reason people sometimes describe me as like an optimistic pessimist, and that's because I feel like I do have those hopeful natures while having a bit more of a pessimistic realism. But yeah. I've always kind of prided myself on the fact that I try to see the best in people. And I just love that there's a hero finally, like Superman, that also shares that.
yeah, I really love like the change they make with Krypton. That it turns out, we're going straight there. We are. I am very much taking control of the conversation here. We are blowing this case wide open. We're going straight for the Krypton change, which is the Kryptonians were basically like warlords. They essentially were like
Well, we
planet
don't know
conquering
that they were warlords, but they were certainly morally questionable.
Yeah, they like like Clark was basically sitting there to conquer Earth.
I'll just need to call another cell.
In the hopes of creating a new Krypton. It's one of those like ideas where there's definitely, because obviously Superman's an immigrant, there's definitely, if you're an idiot, which unfortunately a lot of people on the internet are, like, yeah, you definitely can read it wrong. That's not what the film's going for, obviously, and I think it does.
I think it
like,
goes against
I think
replacement theory because
I think it does. But
well,
you know what people are like, they're idiots.
Because even if it's intended that, oh yeah, Superman's gonna like replace everyone on Earth, it kind of shows that actually, well, he grew up to like everyone there and around him. So like, how could you even say that it's arguing for
he goes against the
replacement theory?
stereotype. Yeah, like he goes against it, and yeah, it definitely adds like the change. I'm for it in the sense that it really does add like a new layer to Clark's character in that. Like he's not a good person because it's the wish of his Kryptonian parents. Like it's purely because of who he is and like him being raised on Earth. It's purely because he's like human in all the ways that matter, rather than the wish of like his long deceased Kryptonian parents, which is the case in the other adaptations. Like it adds a really nice layer to it. I guess it does definitely add a case of like Supergirl now has a bit of baggage that now needs to acknowledge if they want to go with the whole Supergirl was was actually on Krypton and was like raised on Krypton. Was aware of all that. It definitely does leave some baggage for it, but that's not a bad thing. There's a lot of opportunities you can take there. And that's even if they decide to even really go there, they could just have it that she, like Clark, was just like a kid when she was like left Krypton. So
it's more or less still kind of up in the air.
Yeah,
it's up in the air. It's not a problem for this film. It's just an interesting thing that is probably that needs to be acknowledged in the Supergirl film. I think.
But I honestly love the change that they made, because while it is a little controversial and you have a lot of like Zack Snyder fans who are saying, oh look at what James Gunn's getting away with by making Krypton like shit, I think it heavily reinforces the concept of Superman being a human rather than in all the ways that matter, despite him being an alien overlord. And the arc it sends him on this film is, I think, it's kind of become one of my favourite for Superman. As much as I like All-Star Superman, the fact that he gets so much of his inspiration from his parents, and like this kind of gives him a higher purpose that his parents decided. He's like, oh, this is my purpose in life that my parents have given me. It's a mission to fulfill myself, and he becomes the reveal that was never really their intention at all is a really hard shake to his character. It's a change of affairs which he doesn't really know how to deal with, and we see that struggling. It puts him off balance, and it's all designed by Lex Luthor to make sure, to destroy him.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, that he finally sees that it was never about the message. It was all what drove him to do those things is because of how great and immoral a person he was. It's not for his parents to decide his purpose.
Yeah.
They provided the tool, not the meaning.
And then alongside the speech and the final message of the movie that reinforces this theme, I think it ties it all very well together. It's a very good arc.
Yeah, there's a lot to really appreciate in the character work of this film. It's just as good as like the rest of like Gunn's work with superheroes. Like, it's up there with, like, Guardians. And again, like, as much as I sound like I sort of trashed his Suicide Squad film, I need to reiterate, the characters in it are fucking great. Like, I love Bloodsport and Ratcatcher and Peacemaker. I almost forgot to mention, I'm also a big fan of Peacemaker show. And I'm excited to see more of that. And I was, even though the whole thing's messy with the universes, I did have a smile on my face briefly seeing John Cena as Peacemaker in the film on the TV.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah. But I really, really like this interpretation of Clark, where he's experienced, but at the same time he's inexperienced, and like he's very much, he's basically has rediscovered like why he's doing what he does, and it's really nicely laid out in that really lovely scene between him and Jonathan Kent, who, as an example of like, I want to see more of the Kents. I really do. I really hope the very next. I really hope the next film like is just like Pa Kent like passes away or something. I want to see more of him. I need more of that version of Jonathan Kent.
Yeah, I feel like the movie would have hit harder if we'd actually got like that's my biggest criticism, is that we didn't get more of literally everything. Because if we got more with his parents, then the final moment where he pulls up his parents' videos would have hit so much harder. And and there's things like, I think the resolution to the Bavaria invading the neighbouring country that I can't remember the name of now would have hit harder if we spent more time with that, which is why I kind of wish that we did see him in the opening saving people, and then we would have gone to the Hammer, maybe stopping him from getting himself involved with the invasion, and then that fight somehow gets to Metropolis, and then he gets the shit beaten out of him. But I kind of understand why we do skip all of that, simply because this movie already has a lot that it's trying to do, and I think I would have preferred it to be longer. That's the only thing I can say. Hopefully there's a really good director's cut.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a director's cut?
They're probably like
Hashtag release the gun cut.
Release the gun cut.
Release the gun cut.
A lot of films
Release
have
the Gunniverse.
extended versions. Even the MCU has extended versions of its movies.
I didn't know that.
There's one for... I think there's one for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, but these extended cuts, like, there's not much. It's
Yeah.
just like a few like more gags and like funny moments in it.
A few deleted fights.
Yeah, I think there's one from Far From Home where they have like it was in the trailers and everything. Like Spider-Man stops like a robbery in the Iron Spider suit. They add that back into like an extended cut of Far From Home. But that's all the stuff you get from the extended MCU stuff. It's nothing really substantive at all. You just watch it being like, this was not necessary. It should have been cut.
Ah.
And to be honest, like, go through a lot of extended cuts with like, Shiny, she, whatnot. It just made me realize, man, yeah. Most of the
Nico
time,
Bellic is in the chat. Oh, sorry.
yeah, extended cuts are very rarely improved a film. They just show why they should have been cut, why they were cut. Really, I guess it's nice to have them just as an option. Like, I do not think Zack Snyder's Justice League is a very good film at all. In fact, I think it's pretty terrible. But I'm glad it exists. I guess. Yeah, it's like, I'm glad it's out there, even if I have no interest in ever rewatching it ever again.
How's it going? Any sign of Dad?
Not yet.
Nico Bellic says there's a big plot hole in Superman. Why couldn't Superman, with his X-ray vision, see Ultraman/Hammer of Bavaria's face instead of being surprised by seeing his face? He should have known.
With the first one of Hammer of Bravia, I think there are a lot of materials that Superman can't see through with his vision. lead is one of them. I could very easily believe that suit has lead in it, or something equivalent that he's not able to see through. Because it's a very bulky and metallic suit. I think it's a bit more of a stretch with the mask. But I still feel like it's something that it doesn't break the movie, because there's still ways that you can make the mask.
I guess it's funny they did do it, but at the same time it's like, with Superman, like, does he need to in the fights he has with
I patched into a guard radio. It sounds like Joker's crew have got their hands on
fights he has with the clone?
I'll calibrate the cowl's vision mode to isolate armed henchmen.
It would change things if he did scan his face and he's like, wait a minute, this is a clone of me.
Find a different way past them.
But the Hammer of Bravia thing is the only one that I would very comfortably say is probably Lex accounted for. The mask thing, I don't know, it's a bit more wavy, but I'm happy to hand wave it.
Yeah.
It's more of a nitpick where it's like, yeah, it's kind of true, but
it's just a funny goof.
Yeah, it's a bit of a goof. It doesn't have. Actually, I don't suppose it would affect that much if it turned out that he knew who he was at the beginning of the movie. Because it's like, yeah, it's a clone of him. What does that change in how he deals with Lex?
Like, does he even know it's Lex? Like, what do I do with this clone?
Because the Hammer of Bravia is the only one that would have changed a lot if you can say, hey, someone made a clone of me. This has nothing to do with this other country.
Interesting.
Well, good. Our friendly neighborhood rodent is on his way. You miss in a trap.
I like Lex Luthor a lot in this movie, because...
Yes, that's what I want to get to. Yeah, sorry.
He's been very well... in the past, he's been very poorly handled. And I love that in this movie, it's very close to a lot of the cartoon iterations I remember on TV, where it's very clearly envy masked by this, like, oh, this is like going to end the world, and we need to save ourselves from aliens, as he sees him as a threat while being envious that everyone views him as better than him just for the sake of existing. But I think this movie does something a little bit further, where it makes it extraordinarily clear that he is aware that he's motivated by envy, but that doesn't destroy his point that, well, Clark is a threat, or Superman's a threat. He's an alien. It's like, well, and that's not going to change by the fact that I'm envious of you.
That was a very interesting.
When Clark says, you're jealous or like envious of me, he's just like, yeah, of course. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, at first, I didn't know what to think when I first heard Nicholas Hoult was going to be Lex Luthor. To be fair, I hadn't really seen a lot of Nicholas Hoult outside of X-Men, which is failure on my part, until I saw Southpaw and Sheev showed me, and Shiny during number 2, which we both really enjoyed.
I love
and he was great in it. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I can see it now. And I think when I saw him in a bald cap and everything in the trailers, I was like, yeah, no, I'm on board with Nicholas Hoult, Lex Luthor. Yeah.
I still think it's.
Was he in a bald cap this whole time? He didn't actually shave his head?
I don't know if he shaved it or it is a bald cap. I think it's a bald cap.
That's a really good bald, like a really convincing bald cap if it's a bald cap.
What often, if you need to make a character bald now, the bald cap tends to bald people's heads a lot. So the way they get around that is that in post they just kind of squeeze it back into shape, and that helps a lot.
Or digital manipulation.
They did that with what's his face, Walter White in the follow-up movie, the epilogue. El Camino. In El Camino, they have to squish the head in order to put it back into correct shape, because otherwise it would have looked bulgy and weird.
They do it for other stuff, like actually one of the few like little details I actually like from the RoboCop remake was the suit, like the RoboCop suit. They actually did some digital manipulation to make it look like like a human being cannot fit in it to like cannot actually fit in it, so it doesn't look like a suit. Which I was like, that's neat. That's a neat little like detail that you could do in like the 80s, and that's what the humans are like in that stupid remake. Yeah, I was excited to see what Nicholas Hoult would do as Lex Luthor, and he's really great in the sense that, like, yeah, ultimately his motivations are quite petty in a lot of ways, and like envious, and jealous. But obviously, like, you know, he sort of justifies it in the sense that, like, you know, Superman's a threat. Yeah, like, you know, like what he's doing is right. He's in the right. He's the hero of his own story.
In his mind, it makes sense. And he thinks it's a call to actually be doing good. And it just perverted him, really.
Even though that's really... It's really clear that it is just a justification rather than being what he really believes, because he's very happy to destroy an entire city over the fact that they chose Superman over him.
Yeah.
Eventually.
He's just lost it at this point. I'm really happy to actually have a good version of Lex, because again, going through the films with our friend Sheev and Jolly and other people, man, Lex Luthor's had it rough in other films. Whether that be Jesse Eisenberg or, as much as I like Gene Hackman, the actor, the character is really goofy and silly, and as an adaptation, not very good. And then
so, like, what was his backstory in, like, other iterations?
In the 78 film, he's more like a Bond villain. He's got, like, his secret underground. He's like a criminal mastermind rather than a business person or, like, millionaire techie. He's more like, he's got like an underground lair, and like he's a bit more like that sort of campy, sort of Silver Age idea of, like, you know, like a Bond style.
Oh, Superman! Underneath you is I'm dangling Lois Lane over a vat of acid.
He gets goofier with the other films as well.
He's really goofy in these films. He has like terrible comedy henchmen that undermine him. But he just keeps them. It's a bit like Megatron and Starscream in like the older cartoons or Transformers.
Oh, that's great.
And also, like, habit Lex Luthor has is just like having these insane elaborate plans that make no sense, and he's like able to like just deduce things. It's got the Sherlock, like BBC Sherlock problem of, like, he figures out things just because. He's just like, well, of course, like substances from like this long distant planet Krypton from like 3 years ago, in like 3 years from like galaxies away, surely like rubble has crash landed on Earth, like all the way 6 galaxies away here on Earth. Surely like some substances from this exploded planet crash landed here in 3 years, and surely those substances are harmful to Superman.
That's a lot of assumptions.
That's just a guess.
A lot of assumptions which are like very odd.
Impossible.
Because it's like, yeah, it's from a different galaxy. What the fuck do you mean?
Source, it came to me in a dream.
What, you think it crash landed here in 3 years? From like galaxies away? Space is big, dude. Really big. Incomprehensibly big. There's a lot.
So Lex just like pulls stuff out of his ass, and they say he's really smart. Okay, that makes sense.
And then when Superman shows up, he's like, "Here, let me explain my entire evil plan to you, and then just hope you find the kryptonite to weaken you, rather than just start with the kryptonite, rather than just have it around like my chest."
You got me monologuing.
Yeah, he just hopes that he just finds the kryptonite in his room, and I'll weaken him. It's like, wow, imagine if he like took you and your goons, imagine if he took you to jail without like checking like the chest. That's the kryptonite in it. That's made of a layer they can't see.
He sounds like a massive goober. Oh my gosh, it's not even funny. That's some goober stuff.
I will say, he's funny bad, unlike Jesse Eisenberg, which is just cringe in Batman v Superman. Like Jesse Eisenberg, despite being an idiot of a villain, still might actually be more intelligent, but he's cringe. He is utter cringe in terms of his performance. And then we have Kevin Spacey, which we're just not even going to talk about.
Wrong!
Outside,
Dave is here.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we're just not gonna talk about
James in the
Kevin
chat.
Spacey. Hello, James.
He says Otisburg.
It's just a little bitty place. Otisburg? Otisburg? Yeah, that's his comedy side villain that frequently like fails him, but he just keeps around, despite the fact that he keeps mucking up his plans. Yeah. But enough of bad Lex Luthors. We finally have a really good one.
Yeah. Another topic to talk about is we finally have a good Clark and Lois relationship. Well,
We do.
outside of Lois and Clark, which
I have to see it.
Superman and Lois. That's it. Outside of Superman and Lois, I'll talk about just purely the films.
Good.
Because I've always really hated it when Lois loves Superman but doesn't ever look at Clark a second time.
Oh yeah, it's
Is
very
that-
very
Yeah,
shallow.
that's the case in the 70s films.
It's a really,
Especially at the
really shallow relationship that bothers me to no end. I very much think that she should be interested in Clark. Otherwise, she doesn't really love him for who he is.
Yeah.
She just loves the fantasy.
Like,
She loves him for
I've-
like what he can provide.
I'm fine with it at first, like in the first Reeves film, I'm fine with that being a dynamic. But just as those films go on, it just doesn't change. Which just makes it really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, well, why should I care about this relationship?
At least it's not what Superman Returns retcons.
Oh god. No. No.
No. No.
Lois just doesn't even know why she's pregnant because he wiped her memory. Christ. And like just Superman's just stalking her the whole film. Oh god, fuck that movie.
That
yeah,
sounds
we'll say,
insanely cursed.
Yeah, like I'll say I don't like the Snyder films, but with the whole concept of Superman, I'm like, you know what? They're nothing special really, in terms of being bad.
I think Man of Steel, Clark and Lois. I don't really like. They don't really have a chemistry.
Yeah, they're kind of nothing. I will say I appreciate that this time. I guess it's kind of interesting that like she already knows Clark is Superman.
Mm-hmm.
She goes under investigation of him, which like many things with that film. I think it's a good idea and like a good way to change the relationship. But they do nothing with it. It's just like everything else in that film, half baked.
She's still got Gordon
Well,
with her.
not even like
Okay, done.
I wouldn't even
You think
describe
so?
I wouldn't even describe Man of Steel as half baked. It's almost like the frozen pizza of movies. It's just like
I sent you the
Frozen pizza.
I guess it's technically edible. It is food, but it's frozen. Like it's just not cooked.
It's
Yeah,
not. It's not nutritious.
Yeah,
It's not wholesome.
yeah. You don't really get anything out of the experience.
You get nothing.
Yeah.
Did Lois know Clark was Superman in Man of Steel?
Yeah, he did.
Yes,
Yeah, she did.
that's how they get introduced to each other because, basically she goes looking for this this superhero figure who keeps saving people, and ends up running into him when she gets taken to see the alien spacecraft, and then manages to track down his mother.
Oh, okay.
Super easy, barely inconvenience.
Yeah, it's the way it's presented. It's just like, wow, Clark should have been discovered like long ago. Like he's not very good at this. But
Kind of ruins the whole anonymous superhero thing.
yeah, kind of fits on the superhero thing. Which he shouldn't even be doing because his father requested he not sit. Oh, I'm not going into that film.
Yeah, very very confused movie.
Yeah. But I will say, there is something there. I will give Snyder Cultists a bone. There is something there that, had a better director and writer done that film, could have been good. Yeah, their relationship in that one is that she, like, before he doesn't even develop the Clark persona until the very end of the film, where he joins the Daily Planet. So they already know, like, she already knows. Which I think, again, like everything in that film, could have been good. I actually kind of like that idea. Like, I kind of prefer that to the whole like, dual persona thing in their relationship. But again, their relationship is just kind of nothing in that film. It's not really anything.
I see.
Nothing to sink your teeth into. Again, it's a frozen pizza. There's just nothing to bite into.
What about, have you seen My Adventures with Superman?
No.
No? I don't know if it's good or not.
I've heard a lot of mixed things, weirdly. Like, there's some, especially there's some ideas in it that I kind of feel, why did you do that? Like, it's a very different take of Superman, but I've never really gotten around to watching it.
Yeah, same.
It looks cute on the outside, but at the same time, I can't clock on whether it's good or not. I haven't seen... I've seen the first 2 episodes, and my gosh, they're a tiny bit cringe. I hate to break it to you all, but it's kind of cringe.
I haven't heard great things. A lot of people in our community have watched that film and told me that show and told me it's not very good. So I just have avoided it. I'm curious how I've never actually watched Smallville. And I've heard like interesting things about that show, so I'm kind of curious to check that one out, just for the Lex Luthor, because I've heard like good things about the Lex Luthor in that one.
I want to look at it at some point as well. I haven't seen Smallville. I've seen half of the first season of Superman and Lois, and I loved it. But the problem is that while watching it is a very enthralling show, it's one that it's difficult to like get the energy to get back into.
It fails to hook you, really.
Yeah, well, I feel hooked while watching it, but while not watching it, I just don't really feel hooked.
You don't get the urge to be like, I need to see more, I need to know more, I need to experience more of this world.
Though I'm in love with the opening scene. And it is a lot of bias, I will admit, after watching Man of Steel and being sulking about that for fucking years, and then seeing how Superman is introduced in that show where he saves someone from a car, and then he goes, "Thanks, my mum made it for me," and flies off.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah.
He's a little golden retriever. That's what he is. That man is a golden retriever.
Yeah, I need to get around. Like, everyone I know is everyone our communities recommend Superman and Lois to me and like said good things. I've never got around to it. I've heard there's good Superman stuff. I've just never watched it.
Before this movie, I introduced Eerie to Batman and Superman Public Enemies, which I've always loved because it's... I love how it gets the relationship between Batman and Superman right. And I think in respect, the plot is garbage. It is mostly crap. It is all just an excuse to have these really cute moments between Batman and Superman, and they do an incredible job there. But the rest of it is just really lacking. Like it doesn't really have a theme.
They really wanted Batman to fly a Megazord in the shape of Batman and Superman combined, and they thought it was so cool, and have him fly it into a meteor and have it explode and make it like a huge sacrifice, and he survives the whole entire ordeal. It's kind of hilarious on paper when you really think about it.
It reminds me of a quote from, I think it's called Justice League Doom, which is an animated film I've seen, which is like, what was it? Like, I can't remember the villain's name, but he basically is firing like a solar flare, gets like a solar flare to hit the Earth, and Superman, as a little jab, I think, towards the 70s movie, is like, what if I was to like move the Earth, and like Batman just says, even if I had a week, I would be able to list all the problems with doing that. Which is like watching the 70s films and like the other films as well. Superman Returns had this as well, where it's just like Lex Luthor's like, I will create an entirely new continent and flood the United States of America. Like we were all just like, even if we had a week, we would be able to list all the problems with this plan.
It's kind of stupid fun.
Yeah. And to be fair, Justice League dude is kind of like that. There's a lot of, I remember there being a lot of crazy shit in that animated film. But also a lot of really good stuff. There's a really good Batman and Superman moment where towards the end, so obviously the premise is built off the comic series Tower of Babel, which is Batman has developed behind the Justice League's back, developed
Contingency plans.
Yeah, to basically take out the Justice League. He's
Oh
like, "Look,
yeah,
guys,
I remember
like,
that.
guys, you are all gods. You have all insane powers. Like, we need to be put in check. Essentially, there needs to be something."
Was it Dick
basically-
Grayson like really like offended by that or something? Someone was offended.
I think that there's a joke that Dick Grayson doesn't have a contingency plan that's going around the fandom. It's not. That's not actually in the movie.
It's a robot chicken sketch though, where
because all the plans are used against the Justice League, which is how it's revealed. Which is they're all kind of a little bit pissed off. It's like, hey, you know, we're friends. We're supposed to trust each other. We work together, and for some reason, you've been making these plans against us all. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So he's developed all these contingencies, which, to be fair to Batman, the contingencies were designed to, because obviously he's no kill. He has a no kill rule. They're just designed to neutralize. But when the villains get a hold of the plans, through some quite silly means in the film, from memory, when they're able to get a hold of the plans, they obviously modify them to kill. But yeah, there's a scene at the end where the Justice League, after they've sorted everything out, they have a chat about like, hey, we're thinking of kicking you out of the Justice League, Batman, because you've kind of betrayed all our trusts.
And he's just like, oh well, if you don't see the need for this, then I'm fucking off anyway. I don't need a vote.
Yeah, like he's also like I think one of them says like you know, we don't need contingencies to stop the Justice League with the Justice League, and I think it's Wonder Woman who said that, and Batman just says, "Then you're damn fools, like you're idiots. I'm out. Goodbye." And there's a nice moment where Superman kind of stands up for Batman, and also before he leaves like the Justice League like sort of space station that's in like all the adaptations, or in the animated adaptations anyway. He gives Batman the kryptonite bullet that was used to neutralize him. He gives him a piece of kryptonite, being like, "I trust you with this." Yeah, like I see where you're coming from. That's a nice little moment. Yeah. And there's also a nice moment where he asks like, "Hey, what was the contingency plan for you?" And Batman just says, "The Justice League."
It would take all of you to take me down.
Yeah.
The other movie which we watched was Superman versus the Elite, which has always also been a favorite of mine as well. I think compared to Public Enemies, it does a much better job at having a theme which it kind of stays focused on and actually having some character development rather than just being an excuse for fun character dynamics.
Yeah. Which one was this? Was
Superman
against
versus
the Elite.
the Manchester Black English guy.
Yeah, the Manchester Black.
Talking about why Superman doesn't kill or doesn't believe in killing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. That was some peak Superman right there. I do have one complaint of that movie, however. At the beginning, not at the beginning, throughout the entire film, it's kind of clear they're villains. The designs, they're so clearly evil. And if there was like some kind of, I don't know, design arc instead, kind of like how Omni-Man, you know, he has like this heroic aura to him, but when he goes insane, his eyes go all bloodshot. That would make more sense. They did that in the movie with Superman, where they made his eyes bloodshot. But it was very clear from the beginning that they had a amoral bent to them. But it was really fun to see how Superman was going to essentially he goes out and fights evil, but to see him defeat the evil in people's souls was a very interesting subject matter. So I really enjoyed that one. What'd you think of Versus the Elite, Sam? Did you see that one?
I actually don't think I've seen Versus the Elite.
No.
No, there's a couple I haven't seen. I think I might have seen Public Enemies, but it was a long time ago, if I did. Like I said, I've seen Justice League Doom, and I've seen it's the movie for like the animated series from like the 90s, like the Superman and Batman one, which are mixed bag from memory as like as TV shows. They're mixed bags. That they do nail the characters, and I saw the film. What was it? World's Finest, I think it's called. I remember really liking that one, where it's sort of Batman and Superman meet up for the first time. It's Joker and Lex Luthor. They team up, like, you know, like was it Joker moves to Metropolis because all his operations get shut down in Gotham via Batman, so he moves to Metropolis to escape Batman, basically. And he basically goes to Lex Luthor and was like, "Hey, if you pay me a shit ton of money, I will take care of Superman." And Lex Luthor's like, "Fine."
The Joker does this.
Yes.
You're kidding. How is the Joker of all people going to take down Superman?
Well, that's the funny thing.
Yeah. Kryptonite.
Oh.
Never go wrong with Kryptonite.
How the fuck does he even know?
Well,
How does he even know
it's
that's
known
his
at that
weakness?
point that it is his weakness. So the thing is, the reason why he kind of gets the upper hand on Superman is because Superman severely underestimates him against Batman's warning.
Yeah, 'cause, like, you just see this, like, oh, you're just a fucking guy. Like, you're not even rich like Lex Luthor.
You're not even
easy.
that intelligent. You're just a fucking gaggling buffoon.
Yeah.
He's not even really
Yeah.
superpowered, is he?
Well, no, he doesn't have
Yeah.
any superpowers. The
And
the Joker's just smart, immoral, and represents chaos, which is that's the reason why he often gets the better on a lot of people other than Batman, is because everyone else underestimates Joker. Because
they just see him as
I see.
because you see him as an insane lunatic, and you're like, yeah, why the fuck should I fear you? But in actuality, he is actually smart enough to use the way people underestimate him to his advantage.
Very formidable.
Yeah, so he's able to get the drop on Superman, but Batman helps him out. Because Batman followed Joker to Metropolis. And
Because Batman's just that guy.
yeah, and it's like I remember how both of them figure out their identities. Which one's Batman, which one's Superman. Was it? Superman uses his X-ray vision to see that's Bruce Wayne, and basically what Batman does is that he puts a sneaky little tracker on Superman, basically just follows him back home, where he finds out it's Clark Kent.
Oh, okay, so he finds his identity.
Yeah. And there's even like a funny scene or whatever where Superman, like, he's like on the phone, I think, talking to Lois, who's talking about like, hey, I'm dating this Bruce Wayne's. I'm dating Bruce Wayne. Like, so we're about to have like an interview or something. Like,
The way he
Yeah.
cooks, I always found that fucking hilarious.
yeah, he cucks Clark, and he also finds like the tiny little bat tracker on like his bat tracker on his cape. He picks it up, and then like using like his obviously like his great vision, he's able to see like Batman like all the way like on like a ceiling like of like similar level to where he is on his apartment, with, like binoculars just watching him. and like Batman
Oh my
just gives Batman just gives him the thumbs up and fucks off. I love Batman in that movie. He's such a troll.
These two are
He just
besties, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I love that originally, in all most adaptations, they don't get along at first.
Oh yeah,
And
they
that's-
don't get a lot of World's Finest at first.
Which is mainly just because, on the surface, the two characters are almost entirely antithetical to each other. Batman is like a masked vigilante who kicks the shit out of criminals and represents like fear, while Superman represents inspiration and hope. But then when Clark and Bruce get to actually know each other, they actually kind of realise that they both represent the same thing, which is optimism.
Yeah.
And belief in change and trying to help people. Just that they
That's
both
what
go about it in different ways.
That's something I really loved in the recent Batman films, The Batman. He very much, they make it like kind of like what they've done with Clark and his backstory in the new Superman film. They revealed that, you know, like Bruce's like just perception of his parents just being faultless good people isn't entirely true, in that they are to a degree morally compromised. Like they made some mistakes. And
Batman's parents?
yeah, and also combine that with the fact that his desire to like his branding of like I'm all about vengeance in a new film is actually inspiring like people like the Riddler and other villains. He figures this out. Like Riddler's basically built his whole branding on the idea of vengeance, which is just a veneer for him to just exercise like just his frustrations like in his personal life, like just how just like society has just failed him, and it's just his excuse to just lash out.
Yeah.
Batman realizes that what he's doing is wrong, and he's created the villains or like the crime he wishes to stop by sending out the wrong message, and he realizes through helping people in the third act that this is about seeing the film in a long fucking time. So I actually haven't seen it since Mars. It's a long movie. He realizes that he needs to actually, like Superman in this film, he needs to become a symbol of hope for the people of Gotham. Like, you know, like he can't represent vengeance. He needs to represent hope.
Interesting.
He is
Bringing it back,
sending like a message to people. Yeah, bringing it back.
bringing it back to Superman. One thing which we haven't mentioned is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is phenomenal for Superman 2025.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
I don't know what happened.
I need to listen to it on its own, but listening to it in the film, it worked very well.
Batman saved us.
That's one thing that's been consistent across all the adaptations of Superman. He's always had like really good music. Like obviously the 70s films are iconic. Yeah, it's John Williams. Man of Steel, for all its faults, has a really good soundtrack from Hans Zimmer. Like I really love the theme in that film, which they never use in the film until the very end. But the rest of the film's really good for music.
I admit, for Man of Steel, I am a bit biased against this, like, just because of everything else in that movie. I just don't really feel the same way about it that a lot of other people do.
Yeah,
To the
same.
original
Man of Steel.
John Williams?
No, not John Williams. I think the John Williams theme is fire. It's the Man of Steel theme in the Zack Snyder's movie that I don't really look too highly upon, just because I'm biased against it because of the movie it's in.
Yeah.
We'll say having this new film, we'll talk about earlier before we went live. With this new film, it has enabled me to somewhat brush past a lot of my biases with Man of Steel. I still think in that, now that I view it as like it's still a bad film, but I could see more also like what they're trying to do and how they just basically the film just does a bad job again, like we described before. It just does a really bad job communicating those ideas or really doing anything with them. But now I just sort of view it as like just a weird, not a weird, but like just just a take on the character that just failed, really. Now that we have like a good version, basically.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and I aired this before in another private conversation that Yeah, I look at Man of Steel a bit more favorably, and I'm interested after my Daredevil video comes out. I do kind of want to tackle Man of Steel again, just because looking back at my old review, I can tell it's very much like a fan rant of internet nerd rage, and I feel like I want to give it a bit more of a fair shake.
In what way? Did your opinion change at all?
Well, there's certain things. The problem is that because the movie is unclear on its concepts and a little contradictory, there were some things that I missed which make what I said somewhat inaccurate. And I'll give you an example. I thought I was very confused by how the powers work, because I always interpreted that the moment the mask was broken, that was when Zod started getting his powers, and before it was the super suits that were giving him powers. Because I always thought that because the mask is giving him Kryptonian atmosphere, that means that he's unpowered, and that it's breathing in this air that he's struggling to breathe the non-Kryptonian atmosphere, and then he's feeling the effects of gaining these powers all of a sudden. But the movie explains in a one throwaway line that actually the mask was doing nothing more than stop him from being overstimulated.
Oh,
yeah, it's
okay.
a filter.
Yeah, so they have powers from the beginning, the moment they go anywhere close to the yellow sun, which is...
She's dead. Someone tell Joker.
Okay, which is just a confused understanding, because it's just not very clear.
Yeah, the film's
Yeah.
not very clear at conveying its information. Zack Snyder's he's very much mastered the craft of neither telling nor showing at times. It's really weird. But like other stuff such as like how the Kryptonian world building works in that film. The way, like, you know, like friends of ours that we were with watching the film laid out to me. It's just like, oh, now I get how, like, in a lot of ways this could work really well in terms of like Clark represents like an opportunity for like the Kryptonians to like change and sort of like essentially the way Krypton was needed to die, and how like unlike the other ones who have basically just been genetically engineered to basically think and act certain ways, and they just cannot operate outside those parameters, and that's what Zod represents. Clark represents as basically the first natural born Kryptonian in like centuries, possibly thousands of years. I can't remember exactly the timeline of the film. He's actually capable of like proper, like independent thinking and thinking for himself. So he represents like a fresh start for Krypton. And again, that's one of those things where just the film, again, because like its themes and ideas are contradictory at points, it's defeated in the poor writing, like it isn't made clear.
Joker's case for months when he broke out. The warden was very specific he wanted Joker cured.
It's just like you can see what it's trying to do, especially in the scenes between Jor-El and Zod when they're talking, where you can see like you can see how this actually could have been something good.
Hunting down the other doctors.
Don't worry, Doctor. I rescued you first, and now I'll search the other rooms. You wait here. It's dangerous.
Are we watching the cutscene?
Oh no, there's no cutscene. I'm just trying to think of other things to say about Man of Steel that I feel like I was unfair to it. What else did I say that was wrong?
That's the idea of like, I could buy Clark being quite repressed in that film in hindsight, in the fact that he's basically been forced by Jonathan, which Jonathan's like by far and away the worst part of that film. Everything about his character is not good.
He's also very inconsistent, because he goes from saying, I have to believe that you were sent here for a higher purpose, to, you're staying on the fucking farm.
Yeah, again, another example of the film just contradicting itself.
And then he goes from... he says, his death scene is not only really fucking bewildering, because not only tornado warnings exist,
yeah,
but also the fact that there was so much time that Clark could have gone over to and saved his dad, and it's just simply that the movie has him stand there, despite the fact that his father's not actually that far away. People always trying to say, "Oh, he would have to use his powers to save his dad." He absolutely wouldn't have to. Like, there is enough time between since he's standing there to the point where his father dies. He had enough time to run over and just help him get back. And even though you shouldn't be in the fucking underpass anyway, because that's not how you react to a fucking tornado.
Yeah, and also, like, unfortunately the film before then went against this, in the sense that it had Clark saving people when he was still... not going out of his way to save people, but, like when he's just doing his, like, day-to-day stuff, like, remaining hidden, he's, like, still, when he has the opportunity, saves people. And this is when he's still respecting John's wishes.
Yeah, but he's very obviously exposing himself and that the fact that he exists to save people, when that was something Jonathan was explicitly against, the point of letting himself die.
There was an alarm in medical. I heard someone shouting and found the doc lying on the floor. When I went to help him, the room was flooded with gas. These doors locked down.
Yeah, it makes his death very pointless, at least for a very muddled arc. And even then, there's nothing really bad that happens through him revealing himself to the world. So it turns out the world really was ready.
Yeah, just that movie's like a scene of like.
Leave it, Cash.
So I'm just not entirely sure like when would be a good time for the world. There'd be good times for Clark, like obviously when he's an adult. Yeah, I get it. Like for the world, I don't know. Like, I don't know when he thinks would be a good time for the world. I mean, I'm open to my mind being changed on that, but yeah, that's just the thing with that film. Just, I think it would be interesting to sort of really revisit that film and look at it through its new lens and be like, okay, it doesn't work, but like, what are they trying to do? And like, where it just completely stumbles.
I suppose one thing to discuss about this with Superman 2025. So it has quite a lot of bewildering criticisms. I think all of the criticisms about the trailers ended up being completely incorrect. Like, a lot of the strange things people say, oh, why does he need to wind up on a punch to escape a glass cell? And it turns out, well, not only is that glass cell designed to keep Superman in there, but he's also been thoroughly kryptonite poisoned, making him very weak when he starts to get back up.
Yeah, this is just a case of like people taking the trailers in bad faith because of just honestly either just people being stupid or again I think people like I'm just gonna say people with like ulterior motives. The big one being like, you know, fans of Snyder who wished the Snyder universe was like seen to completion and just refused to go with the fact that just it's not happening.
Yeah, there's no way it's happening at this point.
Yeah, like Snyder isn't interested. Like him and Gunn are friends, and like I think he said like he'd be happy to return, but you know he's not like, against what Gunn's doing.
My favorite scene was when they remixed Gray and Blue from the Batman animated series. Sorry.
So what about what?
Eggs and Bogies this year. Oh, I said my favorite part of the movie was when they remixed Gray and Blue from Batman the animated series. The other one, not Batman the animated. There's another one.
I'm confused by what you mean.
They did not actually do that. I'm being stupid.
Okay.
Jackson Voorhees and Dr. Crow are in the chat. Jackson Voorhees says, "Well, an unexpected surprise. What a welcome one. Did you guys already talk about Superman 25?" And he also says, "I mean, it's not technically designed to keep him in there. That's why they had kryptonite." And Dr. Crow says, "This isn't Superman that we're playing." So,
Well, you don't have any games, or at least any good games. So, you know, you got to make do with what you got.
We ain't playing Superman 64, guys. It ain't happening. Don't blame us. Blame the fact that they never completed that Superman Returns game. Yeah.
Is that a real game?
It was an idea. Like, it was one of those, like, it was in development, but then it got axed. It's a shame, because that could have meant we could have at least gotten one good thing out of that film.
Grey and blue, grey and blue.
I guess that's another bone I will throw to Snyder fans. I would much rather watch Man of Steel again than Superman Returns. Superman Returns is one of the most boring films I've ever seen. Like, at least Man of Steel I can see like what's trying to do. Superman Returns is just like, this is just a bad idea. Yeah.
So, like, how many Christopher Reeve movies are there? Because, like, y'all were watching them with Sheev. There's 4 of them.
Too many.
How come I, like, never knew they existed?
What do you mean you never knew they existed?
Like, they just completely evaded my existence. I thought it was, like, a TV show, and I didn't know there were movies. Yeah.
I will say they're not really in the cultural zeitgeist anymore, but they had a big impact for quite a while, and they are responsible for a lot of the superhero stuff we get now. Because that was like the first time superhero film like that genre was ever like taken seriously. Which is kind of like, because in hindsight, they are quite goofy films with a lot of logical problems.
There are also films that are far too fucking long.
They are long.
For their own good.
Yeah, they are long.
Yeah.
Alex Halo has donated $2. Thanks so much, Alex Halo. He says, "Hi, Shiny, Eerie, and new guy named Sam." Hello, Alex Halo. Jegs and Voorhees also says, "I will say that Adam West Batman would be perfectly at home in the JG DCU."
James Gunn DC universe. I knew it was. I would agree with that. No, it's James Gunn's DC universe, while being a bit more light-hearted than a lot of other DC properties that we've had in recent years. It's not Adam West level of goofy. Like, there is somewhat of like a weight behind it, at least.
Yeah, it's a bit like what the, at first anyway, the Reeves films were trying to be, until we got to, like, honestly, if Adam West was folded into the Reeves films after like Superman 3 and 4, I'd be like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, when we're at a point where like Superman's like pushing the fucking moon to like block the sun, I'd be like, yeah, like Adam West Batman could show up right now and I'd buy it.
Yeah. He also says you should get an emulator and play the old Superman arcade game. It's pretty good. 4, but only one of them is good.
Talking about the Superman movies.
Oh, okay.
Well, the Reeves movie specifically. Superman 4 is such a fucking goofy movie. I kind of respect it for that, but it is a fucking terrible movie.
Yeah, it's probably the worst Superman film. It's that or Supergirl.
No, I think Supergirl is worse on many levels.
Yeah, Supergirl manages to both be really goofy but really boring.
And really also fucked up as well.
Yeah, it's also
really
fucked up.
Yeah, it's a bit of a like consent nightmare, because while the actress plays, I was kind of confused because I saw.
What do you mean consent nightmare?
Okay, so the actress who plays Supergirl in the movie is, I think she's 19, 20 years old, but she lands on Earth and immediately goes to a school. So it seems to be interpreting that in this world, Supergirl is supposed to be a teenager that would go to a high school.
Okay.
Then, what happens is that there's a witch that wants to seduce a man who obviously isn't into her, so she basically roofies him with a love potion to force him into loving her.
What?
But it goes wrong, and he accidentally sees Supergirl and ends up falling in love with her. So now we have a grown man falling in love with a teenager against his will.
Oh no! What? Who wrote that? What is that? Shiny, what is that? What movie is that?
Your guess is as good as ours.
It's that's the movie Supergirl, and that's another movie that's just far too long for its own fucking good.
Far too long. Nothing really. Simultaneously, a lot happens in it, and nothing. Like it is, despite basically having nothing going on, like yeah, simultaneously nothing and everything happens in it. It is just pure concentrated nonsense. The film, just random crap would happen in it. Superman 4 is quite similar in that aspect, where it's nonsense and terrible. But I will say, first off, it's not morally terrible.
They're safe now.
Morally terrible? Yeah. What happened?
Yeah, well, it's not as it's not like Superman, and also it's half an hour shorter. So it's out of all the films, it's just pure concentrate. That one's just like you're in and out. It's just like, here's just pure concentrated nonsense for an hour and a half. Goodbye.
Yeah, the ending especially just becomes complete madness. Like, there isn't even any kind of consistency between the shots. Like, it just stuff really is just happening for the sake of it.
Yeah,
lollygagging the film.
So basically, the plot is Lex Luthor steals so basically the plot is, actually we need to go further than that. So Superman gets a letter from a kid saying he wishes the world to be rid of nuclear weaponry. So Superman gives a speech to the UN, I believe. It's like, I will
give the movie, it's tackling a very interesting and complicated topic. The idea of Superman getting involved, essentially what the movie heavily establishes is that everyone is terrified that the world's going to end soon because negotiations between Russia and the US have basically all but collapsed.
Okay.
This was during the Cold War.
Yeah, and so what's happening now is that there's an escalation of nuclear tensions. And a little boy asks Superman to deal with it, essentially, and when he decides to do this, he basically just he goes to the UN, declares war on war, and then just starts catching nukes in orbit and puts them into a giant fishing net and throws them at the sun.
He declares war on war.
He doesn't say that specifically, but basically what he says is I'm gonna fucking fix all this, shut the fuck up.
He basically says, I'm gonna rid the world of all nuclear weapons. So he gathers all the nuclear weapons in space, puts them in a giant fishing net, like the size of the planet, throws it at the sun, and even if I had a week, I would be able to list all the problems with this.
And it's so apparently they just were shooting all their nuclear missiles for no fucking reason.
Wow.
As well. They're not even... This isn't even we want to blow each other up and we're going to fire the missiles now. These are just random missiles that are being fired and then Superman catches them.
Yeah. It's
it's okay.
Wanting to collect them from the silo. Yeah, and basically the plot from there is that Lex Luthor manages to steal a strand of Superman's hair from a museum. That's apparently it's strong enough to the hair on its own is strong enough to lift a wrecking ball, but Lex Luthor's able to cut it with some simple bolt cutters. Yeah, he breaks into this museum, steals the strand of hair, attaches it to one of the nuclear missiles before it's taken by Superman. It's then launched into the sun, creating Nuclear Man, who is basically Superman, but with Lex Luthor's voice. He has all the powers of Superman. He's really strong. Well, he has similar powers in that he's very strong. He can fly.
Please help me,
And his weakness is that if he's not in direct sunlight, he just stops working. Like he just
stops working.
Powers down.
He powers down. It is a terrible weakness.
That sounds really stupid.
It is stupid.
Who wrote this?
It is. So basically, Luthor's plan is to basically send Nuclear Man to go kill Superman, so he could then basically profit off of just selling nuclear weapons. And because obviously there's now a market for it. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, Jim.
So Superman and Nuclear Man get into this really funny fight. It looks terrible because the film had a pathetic budget for what it's trying to do. And
it's like 7 years after Empire Strikes Back.
Like, dude, it looks worse than the other films. Like, it looks considerably worse than like the '78 film, the film that came out like nearly 10 years ago at this point. And, like, even for its time, it had the same budget as Aliens, and Aliens makes better use of that budget than Quest for Peace. Oh yeah, that's its subtitle, by the way, Quest for Peace.
So that's why they call it that.
So yeah, Nuclear Man and Superman fight, and it's really funny because like clearly two awkward like people on wires, just like not even like punching, they're just like weirdly caressing each other. I can't really describe it. And then like at this point, Nuclear Man just starts being a troll. Like the fight just turns into a trolling match where like Nuclear Man just goes around just stealing shit. Like he just goes around like lifting like the Eiffel Tower. No, not the Eiffel Tower. The Statue of Liberty. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He just goes around just doing shit like that. He then bitch scratches Superman, which causes Superman to lose all his powers somehow.
And becomes really sick and ill.
Yeah, which he then gets from. He regains his powers from like a crystal that was in his pod when he came here as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they start fighting again. And in the meantime, Nuclear Man, for some reason, he looks at like a newspaper of like this random woman that's in the film, and just falls in love with this woman. He's just like, I need this woman.
Okay.
So Superman has to basically stop him from doing that. They fight.
Stop it. Get some help.
They fight.
They fight.
There's some funny line delivery in the film. They then fight on the moon, and you can clearly see like the curtains, like the black curtains that are meant to represent space, in the background.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
There's one bit where Superman, I don't know how he figured this out. The script decided he knew it, so he knew it. He knew that Nuclear Man's weakness was that he needed to be in direct sunlight. So he fucking tricks him into walking into an elevator, sends the elevator up to the moon, just puts it on the moon, just be like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I won't chuck him into space or anything like that. I'll just leave him there.
What? Okay.
And then, so obviously the sunlight hits the moon. Nuclear Man through little seams in the elevator powers back up and breaks out and fights Superman again. He then plants Superman on the moon like a carrot. He like hammers him in. He even makes like hammer noises, like hammering a nail.
It's the shot that's been like goofed on for fucking years, where he hammers him into the ground.
Yeah,
I'm sure you. Do you
Interesting. Know it? I have not seen it. I have no idea.
No, not seen the movie, but like know the clip because I had never seen the movie before.
I don't know any clips.
I knew of the meme of him getting hammered into the ground.
Yeah.
I have not seen any clips. I have no idea how this evaded my existence entirely. Anyway, continue.
Nuclear Man then goes to abduct this woman, brings her out into fucking space, and she's breathing just fine, just like
took a woman
suffering no repercussions.
To space.
Yeah, he just took her to space.
Just take her to space. Yep, like as you do. And
then Superman's way of defeating him is by pushing the fucking moon in front of the sun to power him down. Like, he literally he moves the moon.
He moves the moon!
Yeah.
What is this movie?
Madness. Maybe after the stream, I'll show you. It is pure nonsense, the film. It sounds like something you probably like. He moves it. He moves the moon in front of the sun. Powers down Nuclear Man. He then grabs Nuclear Man, and rather than chucking him into space, he then chucks him into a nuclear power plant, and that causes he's basically killed, and that causes the whole city to be powered. He powers the city.
Nuclear power. Okay, so it's pro-nuclear power in a time when... Yeah, okay.
No, it's pro turning
it is pure
people
nonsense.
into nuclear power somehow.
Yeah, so...
Right.
So then, yeah, Superman gets a speech of saying like, oh yeah, my bad, I probably shouldn't get involved in politics, goodbye. And that's the film.
That's the film!
It really is something you need to see to believe. It's honestly one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life.
I have to see this now. This sounds like utter nonsense.
But
that sounds so great.
It is.
But Eerie, we have a few messages to go through.
Oh, okay. Let's take a look here. We have Alex Halo. He says LD is going to watch the movie soon, and Stu believes it's the journalist lying and trying to push politics into the movie to make clickbait. I have some things to say about that, but let's continue on with the...
I know LD's already said that he's seen the movie. He saw it a while back. I think
Did he?
Yeah, so I think he saw it Saturday.
Okay.
And
Did he tell you
likes
anything?
it. Yeah, I've had a very short discussion with him. I know he went on a stream to debate Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, but then he didn't turn up.
Lit Dev didn't turn up, or Jeremy didn't turn
Jeremy didn't.
Ha! Coward! Yeah.
A lot of the criticisms that were being levelled towards it in that debate apparently were he's not stoic enough, it's woke, and he was actually having to fight against that.
LD is having a fight against the idea that it's woke garbage.
That's one thing I really respect Lit Dev for, is that even if I don't always agree with him politically, that he will absolutely not just fall for like social pressure. He'll hold to his guns.
He sure does!
Regardless of what the political crowd around him are telling.
Oh yeah, he can 1000% be a shill, but he will not do it. You know.
And Lit Dev also loves this movie. I know back in my time on Morning Nonsense before I stopped going on, we talked a lot about the fact that like we both really didn't like Zack Snyder's take on Heroes, because he also believes that Heroes should be a lot more optimistic and hopeful, especially characters like Superman and Batman, rather than just this bleak, depressing crap.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The thing is, you know, the whole thing with the anti-woke crowd is, you know, 2017 to 2020, I think, I was like big on like the anti-woke crowd and all that stuff. But the thing is, when they were like basically chanting, "Get politics out of our entertainment, get politics out of our entertainment, get politics out of our entertainment," I'm all for it. However, it got to a point where now, when there is no politics in entertainment, crying is political now, like for no reason. We have Superman with good morals, a heart of gold, and we're nitpicking at this point what is political about Superman.
He's not stoic enough. He's not masculine enough.
Right, he's not stoic enough. He's not masculine enough. The man has a heart.
Like, Clark has never been particularly stoic as a character.
He wasn't in the 70s movies.
We've essentially like retconned ourselves into this.
Yeah, it's the criticism. That's the problem with talking about like Superman, in that a lot of the criticism often enough there'll be like critiques, and I think pointing out like he has X-ray vision and he doesn't think to see under the mask of Ultraman. That's actually a fair criticism.
Yeah, that is.
Even though it wouldn't change much, other than that he just knows he's a clone earlier. It is a good thing to point out. That why wouldn't he think to do that? But then there's other criticisms that are bewildering. That I heard, for example. Well, obviously there's the masculinity ones, and that he's not stoic enough, and that the film's woke. But then there's criticisms like, it's what was the. Like I think EFAP said. EFAP, if I remember correctly, from what I was told, complained that the movie didn't have enough heroes for the heroes being around for like 300 years.
What?
And I was like, what? And I think the movie does a great job of establishing that this is a world that heroes and superhero fights are very commonplace. It would have been nice to have that developed with more heroes. I think if I was in charge, I would have gone for like proper Z-list heroes. That would, because obviously if you're going to cast someone big, it then becomes a problem if you want to do give them a movie later down the line. Like if you had I don't know, who's a big character everyone loves, and if we had like a Martian Manhunter and was just running around, and then all of a sudden this actor's not going to be available for the Martian Manhunter film, then it's going to cause problems to do casting now. That's going to bite you in the ass. But I don't know, pick literally anyone. I would have Crusader in the background doing his shit, even though he's a really pathetic Z-lister that no one gives a shit about, and it would just give the film a bit more life, that there is more heroes running around.
Calendar Man.
that's another
Kite
Z-list
Man.
villain. Kite Man.
Yeah.
Don't give me Harley Quinn show flashbacks to Kite Man.
You still have Kite Man, just not that Kite Man.
I don't even have the problem with the way they represent Kite Man. I have a problem with how they treat Kite Man. But we're getting off track here. I think other people saying it's a mess. I don't think the movie's a mess. I think it's just it doesn't develop as many of its concepts as I would like. There is still a lot going on, but I wouldn't go anywhere close to saying it's a mess.
It's not a mess, it's maybe overstaffed, but it's not a mess.
I would say
I think overstuffed is a good problem. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Not if it causes issues, because that's often the reason why people point out things are overstuffed, is because the issues that are being caused.
Well,
it's doing a lot, and it's just about squeezing it in its 2-hour runtime.
Yeah,
just about.
I like comparing this movie to the first Iron Man movie, because I think that's just a very good standard for talking about
foundation setters for a universe.
And I think Iron Man is actually inferior simply for while it is a very simple in its storytelling and done well. I'll show an example of how it's quite simple, in the fact that Iron Man or Tony Stark has a very simple arc. But it's just very thematically rich, which makes it hit harder, and that it's because there isn't much going on around, it helps it become very focused. But what Superman is doing is that there's a lot more characters it's developing, because you're exploring Lex while also having a lot of development for Clark and his relationship with Lois, and even Clark's crisis that he goes on in this movie. I think it is very well done. And so, as I've discussed earlier, Clark's arc is very much one of he's made unstable when the fact that what he thought he knew has basically just been entirely lost. As we've talked about earlier, his parents didn't really send him to help people, and that sends him in a crisis of faith, because what he originally found purpose in, he can no longer find. But by the very end of the film, it very heavily ties into one of the core thematic ideas of Superman, being that he always has been someone which is derived more from his humanity than his Kryptonian side, because he was raised by humanity rather than Kryptonians. And it has this wonderful, like, found family idea where the twist at the end where he asks for his parents' video, and then he gets clips of him growing up instead, is like a great completion to the arc, especially the conversation he has with Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
It is a very tender moment.
Yeah, I cried a little bit. I did.
Yeah, it got me. I did cry. It hit me in the feels.
Straight in the feels.
They're kind of very similar but opposites in a way where well, they are kind of opposites in a way in that Iron Man's very simple in its objectives. It's very like it's doing a lot less, but it's a lot more what it does focus on. Yeah, it's a lot more focused. It's very laser focused on Tony, his character. Like the entire film is essentially his origin story. Like we don't really have like a main villain. We don't really get Ironmonger until the third act.
And even then, I'd say Ironmonger. Like compare that to Lex Luthor. Lex gets so much more.
Like Ironmonger is important more so for his relationship with Tony, rather than him as an actual character. Like Obadiah is not much, because in typical Marvel fashion, the villains aren't very interesting. But like the film is very laser focused on Tony, and very much his arc, and what's there's I think a lot richer than any of the individual characters in that arcs in Superman, or just more explored. But Superman has a lot more. It's juggling a lot more plates, and maybe they're not as rich and as developed and as nuanced. There's just like it's achieving it. It's aiming a lot higher. It's a lot more ambitious in what it's trying to do. Well, Iron Man's a lot more focused. They're basically on the same level for my scale. Like I guess if we're going like out of 10 with like let's say the British style of graded, then so actually like a 5 out of 10 upwards is actually good. They're both at like a 7 for me.
Yeah, I originally I had an 8 as my score for the movie, but I realised that that's probably a big part of my emotion, and I said if I was being a bit safer and a bit harsher on the movie, I'd give it a 7, which is still absolutely good. I know some people think 7 means average for some reason, but I disagree with that in terms of rating.
7.
Though that's saying that is I don't like the idea of ratings.
Yeah, I don't like the rating.
It's very. The reason why I never really bring it up is because it's very confused. Because I just prefer to say exactly what I mean when I think of these movies. Because not only is it really hard to stay consistent with things like that. Because Angry Joe's a really good example of this. He's impossible to stay consistent with what he considers to be a 5, a 7, or an 8, or a 9, or a 10, and he'll put
like he gave he probably has changed his mind on this film, but he gave 2016 Suicide Squad a film an 8, and I think he gave the new Superman like a 6. So, like he's not very consistent with that stuff. But sorry.
Yeah, which is another reason why I don't like the rating system. But just to explain that. But force of my hand, I'd say originally I thought it was an 8, but maybe a 7, and then I came out of the cinema today watching it, and I'm very comfortable to give it an 8. There's a lot more things that I noticed that I'm willing to give it that higher score, because I think it is a lot more stronger when you know to pick out these specific details, because it was early on second watching that I really noticed how a lot of this ties into Clark's faith crisis, because there's 2 very explicit scenes that point out how much he is guided by his higher purpose that he thought his parents gave him.
Yeah.
But he explicitly says that in the Lois interview, as well as how important the message from his parents seems to be to him, and that he makes it feel better.
Yeah. Very sweet.
And also noticed a lot more with Lex as well, and figured out the character a bit more. Because obviously, it's very easy to walk away from that film and realize he's controlled by envy. Because he even says it explicitly that he recognizes exactly what drives him, but it doesn't invalidate his point at all.
What do you mean invalidate his points?
Oh, because the way he stays it is like, yeah, of course, I'm driven by envy, but that doesn't invalidate the fact that you're a fucking threat.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think, obviously, bringing it back to Iron Man, I think this and Iron Man are interesting comparisons in the sense that, obviously, they're both I know there's like creature commanders and all this for this new era, and like there's obviously that weird thing with Peacemaker and Suicide Squad, but this is like the first like official, even God said it, it's the first like official start of like the new DC universe in the same way Iron Man was the start for the MCU, and it's quite interesting that they're both like valid, but you know, different approaches to starting in like not just starting a new cinematic universe, but also like they're just different approaches to cinematic universes in the sense that the MCU, how it used to be anyway, from Iron Man to Endgame, is very much each film is like a building block. It's like, you know, like this film establishes this film establishes that, this character, that character, and it all culminates in like an Avengers type crossover film. While here with the new DC universe, it seems like all the world building and all that stuff, it's all taken advantage of. Like everyone's aware of superheroes now. Superheroes are the mainstream, which they weren't quite as back in the 2000s with Iron Man. So it's not really doing the building blocks things. It's more like we have established the world. Here is the world. It's already existing and thriving, and we're now going to use that world to just tell sort of
another story.
Just tell stories rather than them being like building blocks to a greater whole. They're very different approaches to a cinematic universe. From what I gather from like interviews with Gunn, he's very sort of he's constantly talking about how like he essentially goes for like a more, from what I gather about the MCU, it's a lot more controlled in the sense that like you know, we need this and that, so we can do this and that in the next installment. It's very much the MCU is like, this is still a valid way, but obviously it's the creatives at the MCU have done it very poorly as time has gone on. Their approach is very much the project, then the creators. We bring in like the appropriate creators to execute this project. While it seems to be with the James Gunn universe, it's like we've established a universe now. Now it's very much we want to bring in creators first, then we'll figure out a project and integrate it into this new universe.
Right. It's not. We're not doing the MCU thing, especially because like the MCU has gotten pretty lazy.
It's very much like that approach still for the MCU. Like you still could apply it to DC and it could have worked. Like I think that idea could work. It's just it requires a lot of planning and it needs to be thought out and everyone needs to be in sync with each other. And that's just not the case in the MCU. The projects are just rushed and not thought out.
It's very much a rush production line, which is what led to where we currently are, where it just kind of seems almost unsalvageable with all the shit that has been thrown into this world. That there's not really much you can take it from here, because almost immediately we have like 30 fucking villains and heroes running around, all of which you have to account for in future media.
Yeah. Just because they want to have like, they want to have as much, or at least it's less so now, they've sort of slowed down, but for a while, in the beginning of the 2020s and like late 2010s, it was very much, we need like certain amount of projects out a year, and it's just like, the projects are just being rushed to meet a deadline.
Oh yeah, it's just become a media factory, a content factory at this point.
Oh yeah.
A content farm, dare I say.
On a farm?
Oracle.
He's very much the projects. Just
I built it years ago.
The scripts are being written as they're like shooting the film, and it's just a bunch of crazy shit with the the behind the scenes for the MCU seem to be an absolute like I'd hate to work in that environment. It sounds like hell. Or it doesn't sound like it is hell.
Bane seemed even more powerful than usual. Joker wants the
Yeah,
Well,
unfortunately,
like-
this is the world we live in now.
Man's point in Arkham North. I'll contact
Welcome to hell, everyone.
What's weird is that a lot of people, like, within our sphere rate this movie very highly. So you have Sheev rates it highly, you have Southpaw rates it highly, there's me and you that rate it highly, Eerie rates it highly. There's
I think Andrew's now watched it and he said he also really enjoyed it.
there's
and rated
Andrew.
it highly.
Like everyone of that's opinion that I trust has what came away from this movie and said it's fucking great. We've all kind of given it that it's about like not like it's very much above average. Like it's a solid movie, and it's a great start. But there's a lot of people who are. I don't really understand the perspective. A lot of the people that are coming out that say that it's either a mid movie or that it's
A woke movie.
or that it's just a bad movie. I really can't see the bad stuff unless you are purposely ignoring everything that happens in the story, like EFAP saying that Lex Luthor doesn't have a motivation not to kill, the motivation to kill
Spell
Superman.
it out.
Which, it's like literally spelled out in the movie. I don't understand how.
The film is holding your hand, and you're just refusing to take the hand.
Holding your hand in a way which is like very in character flex to do. Like it's very much like the scene in Whiplash where he tells his girlfriend that he's breaking up with her because he's essentially he thinks that he'll hold her back. And so the movie is very explicitly telling you like what his motives are, that he wants to be the best. But there's also a lot more that it's telling you about his character, that he's starting to lose focus on what's important and becoming obsessed, and he's mistreating those around him that he's supposed to care about. And in the same way, that scene from Lex Luthor is showing us that he really is envious. Beyond what he's saying, it's envy which is what he's using to justify everything that he's doing. He doesn't actually care about saving humanity. He doesn't actually care about stopping Superman. He is just justifying it in his head, and even more how he justifies it, he's aware that it is envy, but he sees it as it's a calling to action that motivates him, rather than just something which is petty, even though it is just petty. So that's the important part about dialogue, that it communicates more than just the actual words the characters are saying, which is what that speech does. I'd have to see a lot more of what other people think, because people calling it mid just feels like maybe they're a little afraid to... Like, they've enjoyed the movie, and maybe they haven't thought about it that much, but because they hear a lot of the marketing... Because I think the marketing, to be fair, I didn't give me much hope about the movie going in. And a lot of people have been coming out and saying bad things about the movie, that they're probably just looking for a safe take. And that things like saying the movie's busy or this, that and the other, just...
Yeah, I heard that.
There's a lot of people saying that already, that I think people feel safe enough to say that without getting too much backlash, when I don't agree with those criticisms.
For the most part, I heard a lot of that from, like, dumbass, like, Snyder fanatics, which is like, yeah, I think I literally put this on a tweet, and I do genuinely stand by it. It's like, at the time, like, the Snyder cultists could have literally, like, spoiled the entire plot, and I just flat out wouldn't believe them. Because they just lie about everything.
The Snyder cult?
I did also... Yeah, the Snyder cult. Snyder cultists. But, I did also hear, like, a fair bit of, like, yeah, like, from, like, people that I generally do trust, in like other communities or like other content creators, where like I, for the most part, do trust you. You're fairly decent at like media analysis. It's been like, yeah, it's a bit messy, and it just kind of throws you in, and I didn't know what to make of it. But I think once like several people. I waited for several people before I got really excited, but once I heard like several people in our community say it's good, so Noach and TK, maybe not TK actually, I don't know if TK's seen it, but Noach said it was like, oh, it's really good. I was like, okay, but he's also like a massive Superman fan, so I don't know.
Same with Stir, like Stir coming in, like Not that I dismiss Stur's opinion by any respect. But
he is the guy I go to for Guardians of the Galaxy and a lot of MCU. Like
yeah.
he knows quite a bit of it. But also,
But I was going in like carefully optimistic, and then Southpaw recommended the movie, and I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. I'm a bit more hopeful. I'm going to see it tomorrow.
I think for me, it's like once Sheev as well said like, yeah, it's good, check it out. I was like, oh, okay, I'm in for something good. Like those 4 people, like Noach, Southpaw, Sheev, it's just like, okay, this is like a consistent pattern. Like I can rely on this to be good.
I think the problem is
Shiny told me like he came out all like uplifted and super like, this is my positive nihilist, you know what I mean? He's
like mad.
I rarely see you uplifted by very much. And the fact that you were like super excited about it, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. I'm definitely, and I bought a ticket the next day.
I'm very critical about a lot of things, and I thought it was funny that I had a lot of people saying things like, oh my goodness, you actually like something.
It's just funny, because like discussions we've had, you like a lot of things.
I love a lot of things. I'm head over heels for it's just that obviously when you make videos and you exist in a community of people who you spend streams talking shit about movies and TV shows and crap, that of course people are gonna associate that reputation with you, especially when you for years say that you're a fan of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it's amazing, and all of a sudden you turn around and say it's actually garbage.
Right.
But,
You just kind of get the idea that, oh, this guy just hates fun.
Yeah, even though like we watched the original Star Wars trilogy, to show Eerie for the first time, and you and I were just gushing about like Empire and just like that film's peak.
Yeah,
that's a really good film. It's just a really good film.
That's the thing about like I had this conversation with my dad once, because my dad was always like, why do you like critique films and do visual effects? Surely that ruins your enjoyment of them. But I actually found that I think people have this misunderstanding about art, where they view art as nothing more than almost like it's a roller coaster. That it's nothing there than the enjoyment that you get out of it. But I think art is actually about engagement. And that's where... And so when you actually engage with the story, good or bad, I get tons of enjoyment from it. Despite all the ways that Daredevil Born Again is like a terrible show, and there's a lot of things about it which I do find insulting and infuriating, it is very engaging to discuss the things that are bad about it.
It's a productive conversation.
Yeah. And it's the same with good movies as well. I get a lot more I got a lot more from Superman actually watching it for the second time and thinking about many of these things, especially after hearing what a lot of people were saying about Lex Luthor or Clark's arc. Well, actually, no, they're very much wrong. This film has a very clear arc and a very clear exploration of both of these characters. But,
would you say it makes you appreciate film?
Oh, absolutely. And I would say with EFAP specifically, I think if I was going to put my problems with them these days, is that they've definitely become far too egotistical, and they have become a lot more based on perspective rather than like it's with Mauler. I've known for quite a while that Mauler is very obsessed with how people see him, to the point where I remember Glib got in tons of shit for posting a screenshot of Mauler simply confirming that he was going to be on EFAP for the Phantom Menace stream.
Yeah.
And to the point where that ruined his relationship with Mauler for some reason. So this is a guy which very heavily cares about his image. He keeps himself very private. He hates anything of his personal life ever being discussed. And so once he's put himself in a pigeonhole, he kind of has to stick with it, otherwise it ruins his image. And we know from Mauler's critiques of Terriers that there's a lot that he can miss when talking about a story, in terms of context that's being... And you know, this is the kind of a thing with a lot of critics. I admit to earlier with this, there's context that I missed in Man of Steel that makes some of my my video incorrect. But I think because of how obsessed he is with his image, he's never going to walk back any of his criticisms or takes on a movie, which is a massive flaw in being a critic.
Because, like, you want as a critic, you want to stay consistent.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you seem unreliable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you know, he took it to an extreme.
At the same time, yeah, we're only human. We're stupid. Like we make mistakes. We very much refine our craft as like when we try to.
Well, you make mistakes, but you put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it's
he said that. Yeah, I don't stand by this anymore, and this is why. This is my logic.
And that's my strength, and maybe someday you'll realize it's yours.
Yeah, that's what. That's a nice little thematic tie back to Superman.
But and other critics like Critical Drinker. Oh, I think actually before I go into Critical Drinker, Nerderotic. Nerderotic. Like his fucking take on Southpaw, what he said about the Batman animated series. Regardless of what you think about the Batman animated series, he is shit at talking about media. Like he almost exclusively talks about things in terms of adaptation arguments, which I don't think is even fair adaptation arguments. And his dismissal of Southpaw is you need more life experience to appreciate Batman the animated series. And he's talking about a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Life experience to understand a kid's cartoon. What you on about here? Not that a kid's cartoon can't be like really deep and interesting, and that life can't give you more appreciation. Like I'm assuming being a dad probably gives you a lot more appreciation of How to Train Your Dragon, because it's about a father-son relationship, and understanding the other side of that dynamic probably really helps and make it more enriching. But you can very much enjoy that movie and understand it without relying on life experience.
Yeah.
So Nerderotic, from what I understand, not very good at this kind of thing. My hot take next is going to be on Critical Drinker, and I'm sorry if there is any Critical Drinker fans. Critical Drinker, I believe, is very focused on how he goes with very safe takes. He kind of feels where his audience is going, and he just makes videos that please whatever he wants his audience to hear.
I think the word you're looking for is audience capture.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
And I think one of the easiest examples of this to go to is his video on Rebel Moon, where he doesn't even make good critiques of the story and only talks about the message, when I wouldn't even say that the Rebel Moon is woke. Like a lot of the things that he points out specifically are like quite bewildering as like woke points, which is I'd also relate to like when you hear Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers talk about Superman 2025, where he complains that it's not masculine enough, or when Ben Shapiro comes out and he claims that it's not Superman is the American superhero, he's not American enough in this movie, and that he's a weak crybaby. It's kind of to tell that, at least with Mauler, I think the credit I give him is that he does understand stories, he just has an ego problem, and he can sometimes miss context, and he just won't go back and change his mind. But Critical Drinker, I don't think, has that understanding, and neither do I think Nerderotic and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers or any of those people. Or Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is famous for his dog shit media takes.
I think one of my favourite obviously, like all our friends say, like, oh yeah, it's good, was an incentive for me to trust the film to be good. But also, the smoking gun for me to be like, yeah, the Superman film's good, is when he said when Ben Shapiro said it was bad.
No mystery.
I was like, yeah, it's a good film.
I'm coming up to this.
It's like how he said like the Batman was bad. I was just like, okay, so the Batman's probably gonna be pretty good. Good to know, and it was. Yeah.
We got some more comments here. It's where did I leave off here? My gosh, there are a lot of comments. Holy cow. Alex Halo says, I just noticed the crowns with numbers. What's that for? It's basically who's the top commenter?
Yeah, who chats the most and who donates the most.
Yeah, there we go. They're like social. Jason Willie says they're like social points on stream. You get more by commenting or super chatting. There was someone who mentioned. Oh, Child Preston says Yellow Flash also said it's not woke. That pissed off EVS for some reason. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, we're at a point where the anti-woke crowd got what they want with little to no politics in our current media, that now that we don't have it anymore, it happened so gradually, nobody really noticed it, and we kind of are just noticing like the smallest of details that are like not woke enough.
I think
right, it's jumping at shadows.
We've been in this age for a while where Hollywood has tried. So I don't think Hollywood is particularly left-wing. It's a bunch of people who are basically trying to... it's basically all about appearances for Hollywood. They are obsessed with trying to make themselves look the most moral, and to be frank, on the surface level, when you look at left-wing politics, it's a lot more about, oh, let's help the little people, and moral grandstanding on the case of who helping those less fortunate, compared to right-wing talking points, which are a lot more self-centered in nature, about things like defending borders or defending yourself or homes, which is why I think those talking points are more popular within people who are less fortunate financially, compared to people who are more fortunate tend to... It's like the whole Saints in Paradise thing. It's easy to hold these values when you're not really being challenged, and all they really care about is the perception that they seem moral rather than actually being moral. So they never cared about these politics, but they put them into these movies anyway because it was a very easy way to get people to start talking about it. Almost immediately you'd have a bunch of people crying about how bad the movie is because it's woke, and then you get a bunch of people immediately defending this movie based on nothing more than the political standing of it.
I feel like that was like more the Tumblr era. Tumblr is basically just dead in the water at this point. It's a dead fish. And you know, Tumblrinas can't really dogpile on things anymore. Like if someone's complaining about something on Tumblr nowadays, Tumblr is so dead, nobody cares. But when it came to, say, let me give an example. To say Doctor Who and the whole like Moffat drama. Tumblr was able to essentially bully Moffat into ham-fisting more politics into it, to a point where it's like really, really weird and campy later on in later seasons. But
I don't think it was necessarily bullying. It was more he was really afraid of his image, and that tried to land him to course correct. But unfortunately, it didn't work because he didn't quite understand what people were saying. And I don't even necessarily think those critiques are valid, because I think the only one you can really apply that to is his work with Sherlock and Amy Pond. I think that he very clearly has this fetish of like strong woman archetype. But then, even though characters like River Song embody that as well, I wouldn't say River Song is particularly sexualized. I don't think anyone looks at River Song as like a sexual fantasy.
Like the closest you get to that is like Let's Kill Hitler, and that's like the one episode, really.
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah. It's just kind of fascinating how the perceptions that Hollywood thinks is like good or bad reflect onto what they think the audience wants. I'll give an example. There was a movie that came out recently from Disney called Elio, and nobody watched it. And the thing is, there was a report that came out that Elio was originally going to have like a gay main character, and he would have like a male love interest and all that stuff. But in the end, Disney kind of like preemptively censored itself and just cut that entirely, and then got a new director, and then, well, it failed. So it's not necessarily that Hollywood is necessarily left or right. It's just trying to mirror what it thinks people want. And one of the main ways it knows what we want is through the internet, because we're very vocal about it, and number 2, box office numbers, which is why they would usually shy away from certain topics when it would not be popular in, say, China. But it's trying to hold up a mirror instead of bring morality to the people and brainwash us or whatever the fuck they think they do. So that's essentially what I think it is.
Hollywood wants the appearance of being moral, but in reality, like, it's immoral. It just goes where the money goes.
Exactly.
I would even say that it's more than immoral. It's actually quite evil as an industry.
Well,
there's also
financially.
It's financially quite immoral. I think the whole like Hollywood being woke, whatever, is just defeated by the fact that you look at like it's marketed for like China, for like Marvel and like Star Wars, and then you'd have like all of a sudden like Black Panther's like covered by his mask, or was it like Star Wars: The Force Awakens poster, like just Finn is just deleted in the Chinese version. Just no black people. There cannot be any black people in the marketing.
Right, they're more just cowardly than malicious. Like I said, like, people used to kind of think like, oh, they're trying to brainwash us into like accepting things we don't want to accept. No, it just thought that this was what we wanted, and it turns out it's not what we wanted, and then it just shifted gears. Yeah.
You even say it's cowardly or like malicious or anything. Like, I just go to immoral. Like, they just don't care. Like, they just go where the money goes. It's very corporate and like mechanical.
Well, that's where the left wing and the right wing agrees. Hollywood evil. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, like it's that fucking Predator meme of like the two people like doing like the big handshake. It's just like everyone agrees like fuck Disney.
The one thing that conservatives and liberals can agree on.
Brilliant about Superman. I will say one thing that does surprise me is like some of the like people like Neurotic respond to Superman's just saying it's not political. I'm not saying it's like not like it's not deeply political, but it has a clear analogy to like world like geopolitical events currently. It's just like, what do you mean?
I don't necessarily. I don't. I know this is maybe a little bit of a hot take, but I don't know if it was intended as an anti like Israel-Palestine dynamic, because this movie would have initially been written before that really became into the mainstream thought. Though it certainly probably helps it. And then Superman's not alien to this kind of dilemma. Superman vs. the Elite also has Superman getting involved in a country being invaded by another country in the Middle East. But I think it makes it more potent because it just happens to align up with what's happening in life. And I think even if it is intended as an analogy of Israel and Palestine, regardless of what you think on that topic, it's not even like the politics of what the movie is saying, its message and theme, have like they're not political like points.
They're universal.
They are very universal in, hey, humanity and empathy are really good, and maybe don't commit genocide.
Yeah, people were going to die. Regardless of like the current climate, it's such a universal value that it's still really palpable, but just turns out it is even more so due to the current climate, which is kind of welcome. It's really nice.
Yeah, like honestly, like that's like I'm very much for. Like, I'm not completely against. Like, I think there's definitely some arguments to be made against definitely the author. I think like the interpretation of the author is important, but also, like I do think there's a right like the author isn't the sale, like isn't the be all.
Yeah,
for
the
your film,
story
like,
is the end all be all of what's actually the story is about, rather than the actual author. The author, so it goes story, author, and then interpretation.
Yeah, like I guess to bring us to James Gunn. So for the Suicide Squad with Polka Dot Man, apparently according to James Gunn, he's written to be basically unlikable and psychopathic. Like he's like he's meant to be sort of like very much like he's apparently like egotistical, or I can't remember exactly what he said, but like it's not how it's communicated in the film at all. Like Polka Dot Man's very much almost like very sympathetic.
Like
He's
a victim.
horrible life, yeah. Yeah,
he's a victim of his own mother.
Yeah.
And then he's like, when he's happy that he's finally able to be a superhero rather than a villain, he's ecstatic.
Yeah. Apparently that was all like just a cover, apparently, and apparently Polka Dot Man doesn't give a shit. Which, according to James Gunn, which I'm like, I don't care what you say, you're just wrong here. I don't care you've written it, you just fundamentally didn't get it.
Or Rorschach in The Watchmen, because at least one thing that a lot of people thought were really potent about Rorschach was that you kind of have to look into it. He's very unsympathetic. Not unsympathetic. He's unbreaking of his morals. Like he doesn't believe in things like the greater good. He's like, no, this is just fucking evil. He's uncompromising. He's unnuanced. But the name Rorschach very much clearly seems to say that it's based on what you interpret from the character, because it's the Rorschach test. Like, is he really just a fucking lunatic who just is uncompromising, or does he really have a point that you can't build this world based on lies? And it's up to the audience to decide what he is. And then you get the author coming out and saying, no, he's just a horrible, terrible person, and that you're not supposed to look into what this guy is. Oh, it's like, oh, okay. Well,
I think that's hilarious.
That seems to break a lot of what the story seems to be going for and some of its strengths. But we'll just take that with on the side.
I think another one is John Carpenter's The Thing, like his The Thing remake, is that a lot of people very much read it as like as an analogy to the AIDS epidemic at the time in the 80s. A lot of people
what? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a take. It surprised me.
Yeah, there was a lot of people who like thought like it was like an analogy for that, or and like John Carpenter basically just said, you can view it that way. I was just making a fun monster film. I wasn't thinking of a deeper theme. But he just did not give a fuck, and I was just like, you know what, I respect that. He's someone who very much is just blunt and honest about like his thinking process when making his films. He's just like, yeah, I just did this because I thought it'd be fun. Which, I mean, fair enough. Like, considering like how badly he was trashed back then, and I mean, to be fair, towards, like his films just failed. And I mean, to be fair, later on, like his later films were kind of crap. Well, not kind of, they were, but like I do understand why he's just like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I think also I think the ultimate example is Tommy Wiseau with The Room. Like, according to, like, if we weren't ignoring Death of the Author, like apparently, like, The Room is supposed to be a funny comedy, according to Tommy Wiseau.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
he's
supposed to
talking
be
a
a
bunch of
comedy.
bollocks though.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, I don't believe you, bro. You clearly tried to make a drama with this and it failed.
At the same time, I think
It's a comedy. It's a comedy. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think the author has a lot of insight into the story, because when you see intentions of what they were originally thinking, there's a lot that you can realize about what the story's trying to say, at least, even if you can look at something and it wasn't really what the author was trying to say. Like, you can look at I'm trying to think of a good example of something that the author says and it kind of clarifies a lot more about the story. Let's say what James Gunn said about this movie, just to bring it back to Superman 2025, where he states that the reason why Clark almost lashes at Lois for him seeing that she's being unfair to him about through the interview, which we see in the trailers. He states that the reason why he filmed it that way is because he viewed it that it's like a firefighter, that when they go home, they're going to, so when they're out in public, they're not going to show that they're stressed or upset. They're going to be quite stoic and not show anyone that how things get to them. But because he feels safe and comfortable around Lois, that he's willing to air these frustrations more easily than he wouldn't show with other people. And hearing that,
Yeah.
I can say, okay, I can see that. That elevates the scene a lot more, knowing what Gunn was intending with that particular scene.
Yeah, you can actually see you can actually see it in the film. Like, it just gives you insights into things, just like, oh, I didn't think about that, and then you see little pieces in the actual film, and it actually comes together in your head. It's just like, oh, I never noticed this before. That's definitely happened with me with several films. Struggling to think of any specifically right now. That's definitely one. What was your thoughts, I guess, about when you first heard David Cornsworth was going to be Superman?
I was actually I was not quite happy because I always kind of held up that I thought Henry Cavill was the perfect casting, and that it was really unfortunate that they weren't moving forward with him. But I did understand why they were claiming that they were going for a younger Superman. I thought, yeah, okay, is Henry going to be able to do this for another 10 years?
He's in his early 40s right now.
Yeah, he's going to be 50 by the time that this is going to happen. I was like, okay, well, that's a massive shame, unfortunately. But we'll move forwards, right? We'll see what happens. And I was kind of skeptical. A lot of shots as well. I think the problem is that when you take still frames from this movie, they do look a little bad because of the lenses that they're used. But put in context, they actually work really well. Because the lens gives it a bit more of a unique feel for these small moments, and then normal lenses get used for like other moments. So it's supposed.
What do you mean lenses?
So like things like what with cameras, lenses control how the light is being warped into the camera shutter. Well, depending on if you're doing it with film or the content is the same with both film and digital cameras. They all use lenses. And if I was going to use an extreme example, you've got the fisheye lens. So you know when you hold up a glass cube, right? And you have a glass cube, you shine some light through it, and it changes direction because of the shape.
Yes.
So that's the same thing that's happening in the lens. The shape of the lens is controlling how light is traveling through it, which alters the image. And a fisheye lens, for example, takes much more from around the environment and like shoves it inside.
Okay.
So
I've seen a fisheye lens.
So he's used specific lenses. I'm not an expert enough to know which lenses he used specifically, which make, and certain close-up shots do look a little weird when you take particular screenshots. We know the flying GIF that looks a little strange, but in the actual moment, that's just in motion. It actually really works.
It does.
And
it's just that it's taken out of context.
Yeah, it's taken out of context, and it was not accounted for in how this clip would be viewed in isolation in marketing. But I wouldn't actually change the moment anyway in the final product of the film. I think it's fine with the lens.
Yeah, I think it generally looks pretty good. There's a couple of shots where I'm like, I guess it's just my subjective preference of just like I prefer like just the sort of Richard Donner approach where it's a bit more traditional and it's sort of like cinematography and framing. Though I mean, make no mistake, I think this is the far superior product to those films. Well, not product. Like like the final like art piece, I guess. Yeah, I think when I just saw the trailers, I was like, and like just based off like his other directing, like credits, I was just like, I'm unsure about even like James Gunn as like a director as well as a writer. Like I'm just like as a director, I'm not sure if I could see him doing Superman. But after watching the film, I'm glad to see a lot of my fears and anxieties sort of relieved. I was just like, oh yeah, no, this looks good.
Yeah, same. I'm very happy with what we got.
I was just saying, it's not my, in terms of his as a directorial in terms of his directorial work, it's probably not my favorite of his. I still think his best looking in director film is probably The Suicide Squad. I really love the look of that film.
You know, I'll give you that. Visually, I would say The Suicide Squad is better than this film.
I actually think I have a hot take about, because a lot of people say like their favorite look in James Gunn film is the second Guardians film. I think I might have a little hot take about it in terms of like, I think in terms of the color palette, it looks great. Like I agree, like it's very bright, colorful. It was the perfect, no pun intended, it was the perfect color palette after the fucking murkiness of Superman Returns. We just briefly looked at footage of Guardians after that.
Oh, fuck whatever that filter is.
Oh, it looks ugly as shit. But I kind of have a hot take about the directing in that film, where it's kind of the same in the first film, but nowhere near as noticeable to me. But in the second film, it feels it's nowhere near as bad as one go compared to it. It's a bit George Lucas-y in terms of like its framing and like actual camera movement and like setting up. It's a bit like shot reverse shot, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's a lot of that. A lot of like very noticeable digital zooms, which look a bit wonky to me. I remember there being a fair bit in that last time I watched that film, so it's not my favourite looking Gunn film. That's just a hot take. Sorry, move along.
There was something else that I actually noticed about this film. I am quite convinced that James Gunn has to have some kind of ADHD, because he was speaking my language through and through. What I noticed was when it introduces concepts, it does it in such a way that feels... if I say organic, you're not going to know what I mean. But, for instance, the Phantom Zone. We've had the concept of the Phantom Zone with Superman since Lord knows how long. I have not been able to get my head around what the Phantom Zone is, where it came from, anything like that. But when it was introduced, it was observed by the characters in such a way where it's like, from the inside and out, I can understand it now. Because we go from not knowing what it is to just kind of petering into the concept of what it is. We go inside of it, we go outside of it, we go into the Phantom Zone, we go back out, we explain,
I think I know what you're on about now. I don't think this is supposed to be the Phantom Zone, unless I'm wrong.
It's just meant to be another dimension.
Oh, the pocket dimension! The fucking pocket... Whoops!
Yeah.
I thought it was the Phantom Zone. It's not the Phantom Zone.
I suppose it has similarities to the Phantom Zone, but yeah, it's not intended to be the Phantom Zone. As the movie explains, Lex Luthor basically created a pocket dimension, and inside that pocket dimension, he's kept his prisoners in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we kind of it's a very foreign concept, but as the audience, we're brought in to explore the dimensions of this weird concepts inside and out, to a point where you come away from the movie like knowing what it is, and it's like, oh, okay, it's a pocket dimension. It's supposed to be like a prison. I've had concepts of it before. It just wasn't given the weight that James Gunn gave it, and it just spoke to me in a language that it's palpable to me now. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, when you watch films or consume any kind of media, it pays to have ADHD, because the moment whenever I notice like my attention petering off or I get confused by something, that's when I could tell like, oh, that's the fault of the writer. But if it is strong enough to get my attention and get me to understand difficult concepts, then I know this is a really good job the writer's getting. That if it's getting someone with a super low attention span and someone who cannot really focus very well to understand this, they're doing their job. They're doing their job correctly, and it'll definitely captivate someone without ADHD, 100%, no doubt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get that. Someone who I'm confirmed with, but I strongly suspect I have ADHD. I get that feeling. Like, there's a reason why I generally like to watch films with you guys or like Shiva, like other people, because like watching it on my own, I can struggle a fair bit. Unless I'm in the cinema, then it's a lot better for me.
I feel like
home,
I'm sorry, let's be so.
No, keep going. I'm done now.
Alright. I feel like my autism does help me with stories as well. Not in terms of attention, but I feel like I'm less easy to emotionally manipulate.
Yeah.
And just because...
Same.
Like, and because there's so many times that I've seen emotionally manipulative moments in stories, and people seem to eat them up. But I don't...
yeah, it'll get me. Go ahead,
like,
sorry.
It gets you, for example, but for whatever reason, with me, it just doesn't work at all. Like, I'll just look at that and I'll just take it as face value. It's like shock value as well. Doesn't work with me. Like, if you try to be shocking, I just take it as face value and it's like there's nothing deeper here in the story. And people have interpreted that as, oh, Shiny doesn't like dark themes in stories. Like, because one of this sentiment came from when I critiqued Shadiversity's book. Because he writes, like, a lot of dark themes into his story, which I don't think are very well handled. These are very complicated topics that he handles with the subtlety of a hammer, which add very little to the narrative. And there's a lot of them. But when I was airing these criticisms, there was a lot of people weren't very happy, and they just said, well, you just don't like dark themes in stories. That's not what I'm saying. And I think as someone who is autistic, I experience stories in a completely different way than what a lot of other people experience them. And I think that experience is difficult for a lot of people to empathize with, because you obviously can only understand the world through your own, the way you experience it, and then you try to apply that to other people. So if you have no frame of reference what it is to be an autistic person to experience something, you're not really gonna get that.
Right. Circle back. You have had accusations levied against you that you can't handle dark themes, but there was another piece of media that did have dark themes that you really liked. What was that? That was mouthwashing.
Oh, mouthwashing. Oh, yeah, mouthwashing.
Daredevil. Yeah, mouthwashing.
Suicide color.
Mouthwashing has like not a ton of dark theme. It has a lot of gravitas to it.
It centers around a dark theme. It centers around sexual assault, and it's a very dark and graphic story. But I think it's incredibly well handled, because not only is it quite not sensitive isn't the right term. It handles the topic with the respect that it deserves. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it actually has a purpose in the story.
Yeah.
Rather than it's interweaved into the narrative.
It's not just shock value.
Rather than something which is tacked on, and that's kind of the part that often irritates me, because you've just kind of you've really taken me out of the story with the shock value. That you've made something which is like very jarring to look at, that adds nothing to the story, and it's really just nothing there to try and be manipulative, and it means nothing.
Right. Like, for like the way that's why you and I mesh so well, because I am very easily dazzled. I know when my attention is grabbed, and I know when my attention isn't. I know when I understand a concept in a story, and I know when I'm completely lost. And that's usually on the writer. But the thing is, I am very easily dazzled by a lot of concepts. Meanwhile, because you're not very easily emotionally manipulated by stories, you notice when the substance itself doesn't work and the structure just falls under its own weight. I'll give an example. There was the episode of Doctor Who with what was it? It was the Cybermen, and they were in like the X-ray tanks and all that stuff, and they go to some. You know what? This is a long ass story. It's if I were to explain it's gonna get lost.
Danny Pink dies, and they go looking for the afterlife.
Yes.
That one, and they're trying to find where Danny Pink went, and we're being introduced to the concept of what actually happens when you die.
So, and I was really pulled along with the narrative and the twist because it was very emotionally heavy-handed. It had a mystery and there were a huge twist, and I gasped, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed the twist." But you weren't bamboozled by that. You were like, "Yeah, there were problems here." I'm like, "What do you mean there are problems?"
In fairness, I don't necessarily. The thing is, a lot of the problems with that story come from the second episode.
Yeah.
Which is often.
I really like the first part of that. Was it Dark Water? I really like that one. It's Death in Heaven.
Yeah,
where
Dark Water.
I check out.
Yeah, I love that episode as well. I love the concepts it's going for and the way it explores them. But also, in fairness, that's also a story which you're experiencing for the first time, and I've seen the story at least like 3 or 4 times at this point. So I very much know what's going on. It's much harder to emotionally manipulate. It's like the more times you use the trick, the less effect it tends to have.
Yeah.
And that's I'd say a lot of things that have actually bamboozled me have lost its power the more that I've watched it, and that's kind of why I feel a little bit more secure in my take with Superman, because not only have I seen it twice now, and not only I wasn't as bamboozled watching it the second time, but I still was able to look at the story and think there's a lot going on here that really works with it.
Yeah,
because I was kind of biased against the concept that it's going for. Well, not sorry, I'm biased for the concept it's going for, and being this really empathetic Superman who actually cares about people and isn't just a brooding twat.
So yeah, that's just kind of the difference between how both you and I kind of complement in the different ways we experience storytelling. I'm very like in tune with how I feel. Meanwhile, you're kind of intellectually in tune on whether it's staying consistent or, there are any narrative problems or if the structure is sound. So I think that's pretty cool. Sam, are you basically kind of like that as well? Can you pick up on like how do you experience stories?
I'm getting better at it now, but like generally, whenever I watch film, I typically normally get out of it quite neutral, and I need time to really think about it. It'll either get better or worse. It's not always neutral. Like when I first watched Oppenheimer, I was like, "Wow, that was fucking great." It's kind of funny because I went with my sister-in-law, my brother, and my whole family. We went to watch Oppenheimer because we were all excited for it. Basically, me and my brother, we're like, "Oh my god, that was fucking great! We loved it." And everyone else they just didn't find the film terribly interesting, or they just found it was like, "Yeah, it's good, but it just wasn't for me." And we were just the two just fucking geeking out over it. But like typically, especially like this is not the case with films I have like genuine hype for, like Oppenheimer or Dune, or like films I have like legit hype for. With stuff like Superman, Also, Superman was definitely a different one where I left with a smile on my face. I was like, no, that was just good. Like, just watching it first time, I was like, seriously. But like, normally with a lot of films, I'm just like, I need time to think about this. Like, is it actually good? And sometimes it'll get better, and other times the more I'm like, it'll just be like, I'll just be like, I don't know, like fucking cooking dinner. I'll be like, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. Oh.
I think with me, I feel like I've got a good smell test, but I like you, I do require time to think about many of the concepts that I've been putting down, that the story's trying to tell me.
Yeah, I'd say like I'm not very often
Joker's thugs were trying to get into
emotionally manipulated.
It looks like they couldn't get through the main door.
I'm not saying I'm not. I can very much fall for hype moments in aura. That can happen. That's like like I mean that happened with me when I watched Endgame and like Cat wielded Mjolnir. Like that shit's gonna get most people hyped who are like invested in the MCU. But generally not. So I'm someone where like because of my again I also strongly suspect I have ADHD. I'm a bit like you, Eerie, where like sometimes I could get lost to a film. So sometimes I need to just replay the film in the back of my head, being like, okay, that happened, then that happened. Because of that, does it actually make sense? And it'll either get better or it'll get worse.
Mm-hmm.
I also normally like to talk with people about it afterwards. Also, as I've sort of refined my standards and just tried to improve as like, I don't want to call myself a critic because I'm not. I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't like to put my word as authority, but I like to basically improve my ability to analyze like film and all that. Because I want to get into the industry.
Good.
I make my own stuff.
Like
I've gone there like judging stuff on my own, like watching it in the moment, judging it. Like like when I watched last year Alien Romulus, like there wasn't much of like a delay for me to figure out all the problems with that film. Like I very much left the film being like, yeah, the first half was pretty good. That second half was fucking horseshit.
Yeah, I get you.
I will find her or the notes.
I hope it works.
Yeah.
Just so you know, the GCPD found one of Joker's bombs downtown. It was full of Mars.
Yeah, I'm someone who needs time to cook with his thoughts, basically.
It's just a twisted diversion.
Let him cook.
The real action's on
Yeah,
Arkham.
please let me cook.
So what do you think the future for Superman's going to be at the moment? How do you think this new DC universe is going to go?
I think this it seems very creator led, so I think it's just going to depend on the creator or the creatives involved. I'll say unlike the MCU, where it seems to be like they're all like building blocks. So if one film's really bad and mucks it up, that weakens the entire foundation. Like that, so Civil War not being very good is quite a big problem for the overarching MCU. Like Iron Man 3 fumbling Tony's character.
I still think it really needs to have some more strong entries coming in. Because while I think Superman is a strong one, it's doing all right at the box office. It's not really. It's one of the better ones this year. It's the third highest grossing movie I think of this year, but it doesn't have that great competition.
Yeah, it's behind. Jurassic World's beat it to the punch. Jurassic World's like just this, or Jurassic Park in general is just this weird franchise where, despite the reviews always being trash because the films are trash, because like they space these out quite well and people like dinosaurs have universal appeal. The films will just make tons of money regardless. That's its competition right now, and it's behind it. But the film is doing decently well, and the people comparing it to Man of Steel are idiots for not recognizing like the landscape. Like back then, DC were riding Man of Steel did better in the opening weekend. But back then, DC were riding the high of the Dark Knight trilogy, and this was like a Nolan-produced Superman film with I believe he even had a story credit, but like the creatives of that beloved trilogy were involved in this one, and there hadn't been a Superman film in fucking years. And you know, the last one was not very good, and like no one liked it. And also, this was a brand new interpretation of the character
during the hype of the MCU as well.
Yeah,
because it was the reason why they were jumping on with Man of Steel was because they'd already seen that they were doing well with their MCU. So like, oh, we're gonna break in on this, and it just happened to release a year after Avengers.
Yeah, and yeah, again, like this is like the first like proper reboot of Superman, because like Superman Returns was not that. It was it was a soft reboot. This was the first like attempt to actually like it's had like, you know, again, like, you know, the MCU that picked up steam. There was the promise of like a DC universe behind this film. Like the creators involved were riding a high from the Dark Knight trilogy. This film, and also in terms of like the marketing, the trailers for Man of Steel are fucking were like really like they knew how to generate hype. Like that movie had some excellent trailers behind it. So the film had a lot riding behind it, a lot of hype and goodwill. What I'm curious to see is the box office drop into the second week with this new Superman film. Because the thing with Man of Steel is that, yeah, it had a really strong opening, but once actually word of mouth came out, it dropped drastically. Like Man of Steel did drop drastically in the box office in its second week. Because word of mouth came out, you know, like the decision to kill, you know, all the controversial decisions, such as like, you know, Jonathan Kent, Superman killing Zod was the big one back then. The collateral damage, all that.
There was also a lot going against this movie as well, because, like, with I think the advertisements didn't do a very good job of representing the story, because it painted a very bad picture, and even to the point where I thought I was like quite skeptical of where this was going to go. And yeah, it's what I think is even if it has a bad box office, I think we're going to see with the next movie what the future's going to hold, because even if the box office return is bad, it's not out of the game, because the Supergirl movie's already been filmed, and it's just kind of going for post-production, and we'll start. I think it comes out next year, and so is Clayface. So if those two movies are good, this movie is going to... Superman 2025 is going to be released digitally. It's going to be released on DVD, and that's when people, I think, are going to start hitting it off. Because people aren't as ready to go to the movies these days as they used to after COVID. Cinema structure has been entirely changed. The View, where I go to watch movies... Originally, it was kind of seen as like the cheap Tesco's of cinemas, because it was basically just packing in as many people as possible into the screenings with really shit chairs, and that's why it was cheap. But it's actually changed after COVID, where now it's trying to treat itself as like a luxury experience despite its cheapness.
Interesting. How do they do that?
Well, you've actually been there. It has very soft and comfortable. Remember, because we watched the Minecraft.
Oh, was that it?
That was the View, yeah.
It was pretty nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. And those tickets only cost, in total, for both me and you to go, it cost 14 quid.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't know it was like considered like the cheap cinema. Well, that was a really nice cinema.
Yeah, originally it was cheap and low standards. That's what people thought of it. And it's like decent enough to be in the past it was decent enough to enjoy the movie, but now it's just like it's considered to be a really nice cinema, and also
that's kind of cool.
In Brighton, it's like, you know, the cinema experience is there. Like the Odeon and the Cineworld there are actually quite nice. Like they don't sound as nice as the View, but they're actually like, you know, like comfortable seats, like a clean theatre. It's actually like, you know, fairly nice experience. AC, I love the AC. Even like the Cineworld here on the Isle of Wight, which is still fairly crap and like sort of cheap. Well, it's not cheap. It's like 30 quid. even here, it's like it used to be just an absolute cesspool. Like it was just naff. But now it costs a bit more. But at least this time, the theaters are clean. I'll give them that. The theaters are now clean.
Wow, what an achievement! The theaters are clean.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that's just a case of like on the Isle of Wight. There's just no competition for that cinema at all. There's no other cinemas on the Isle of Wight, so they could get away with shit standards and expensive prices.
I'll be interested to see how this movie performs in the future, and what the hell the next one will do. I think the next one will just be the defining of how this future's going to go. DC is going to move forwards. It just really requires that word of mouth to get out with the next few movies. With this one being good and people experiencing it in streaming and on TV and at home, it's less of a risk. Because I know a lot of people as well don't have it as cheap as I do when it comes to cinema. I think some people have told me that it costs them like 40 quid to go to a cinema, which is bloody expensive.
Yeah, it is. I had to pay $30 for me and my sister.
Yeah, so that is, to watch a movie, it costs you twice as much as it did for me to take you and just you and me.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, what I'm interested to see, like, what's the box office drop off for this film going to be? Like, is it going to maintain its hype? Because again, like, Man of Steel very quickly, like, lost hype once, word of mouth came out about some of the decisions made in that film.
I think it's going to be hilarious because I'm not entirely confident about it. I'm worried about how the box office is going to go, but I'm going to find it hilarious if this actually overall does it better than Man of Steel in the end, just purely through it having a weak opening, but then it gets stronger over time. Because when you look at the Snyder fans, they desperately want this movie to fail.
Oh gosh, that's gonna be amazing when it doesn't.
Yeah, like even if it doesn't perform as well, like an interesting comparison is Batman Begins. Like it just did okay in terms of the box office. Meanwhile, Superman Returns did better. Like it was a lot better. But Superman Returns was seen as a failure because it had no staying power. So it completely collapsed after like the initial reviews and box office. It just collapsed. People just forgot that movie existed. Meanwhile, Batman Begins did really well on DVD and home media, and it got like good reviews. So they pushed forward with that. Meanwhile, Superman got shit canned until Man of Steel. So yeah, we'll see. I think a lot of like this movie's going to ride on basically just word of mouth and just like its general perception. And I mean,
interesting.
One crazy Snyder cultists seem to like it. Like even like the more middling reviews are like, yeah, but like I don't think it's bad. It has a lot of promise. And like for the most part, like the general general moviegoers from what I've heard, they really like the film.
I found Dr. Young's formula.
Great. So does that
Unfortunately, I don't have too much of an optimistic perspective on where it's gonna go. To be quite honest, I think this is a lightning in the bottle situation, where it's kind of the perfect storm of like everybody being so dog tired of how lazy the MCU has gotten and how Disney has basically just made a cash cow writing the damn movies and films while they're being filmed. Like, that's crazy. But the fact that Superman did so well, I think if there's going to be any trend that's developed from this film, it's going to become a hallmark of the decade to where seeing it again is considered cheesy, and then people will eventually catch on and get tired of it. I hate to be the Debbie Downer in this situation. I know y'all are like really upbeat and hoping for the best here, but when it comes to, there's still corporations behind these films at the end of the day, and once the DC was able to take a whole bunch of very risky and creative hits because of how it was failing. The DC cinematic, production line. But finally, they have like an insane success, so they're going to have to replicate some aspect of it, and that when that gets repeated, then that's going to be like, oh, that was such a 2025 to 2020 whatever thing, and people will eventually catch on and get kind of tired of it, but DC will probably be a little more sheepish to actually change the form. Because unfortunately, that's kind of how Hollywood and corporations kind of work in this regard, because that's exactly the route that Marvel went down, and as well as a lot of other properties, for instance, Pixar, or just regular Disney movies as well. So it's still a corporation at the end of the day. It's just that after all this risk taking, it paid off one time in a big way. So that's essentially my take on where I think it's going.
The reason why I'm optimistic. Sorry.
Sam.
The reason why I'm optimistic of it is that it does seem like Gunn, if this does go well, Gunn and Peter Safran, like, they seem to have a firm hand at the wheel. And I do think how they positioned it is fairly smart from a business standpoint in terms of, like, it's very much creatives first, then the project. So they could somewhat, so without their universe being structured like each film has to build upon it and move into the next film, it's less episodic and more like you could just tell whatever story you really want.
Yeah.
And also it's like consistent within this universe. They can work around like potential failures.
Right.
It's a lot easier to course correct than with like again, if Marvel had like a really bad Avengers film or some other like very integral film in like their chronology, and it bombed, or like it was like a box office flop, like we've been seeing with like the recent films. If it's just flop after flop after flop, they have to shift gears, and like basically they have to start retrofitting shit, and it just all starts to fall apart.
Right. Tyler Preston asks if I'm talking about superhero fatigue. I'm not talking about superhero fatigue as much as I am talking about trends. Because when a trend gets tired and becomes a hallmark of an era or a decade, looking back on it, it's going to appear dated. And everything becomes dated eventually. It's just that we have needed this balance between risk and success for a very, very long time. To a point where DC kind of had nothing to lose if, Superman really failed, because then they would just roll the dice and try it again. As they've done with all their other films. But Disney has gotten on their haunches in being secure that the MCU is their moneymaker, so they've leaned back onto the same tropes and the same writing core. That's why, for instance, Joss Whedon writing is like really, really, really clowned on today in these days. It was really popular to make characters kind of quirky and kind of cringe, like, well, that just happened, kind of Joss Whedon-esque, dialogue. Why are we running in circles, Shiny?
Who are running in circles?
You're running in circles.
No, I'm not.
Oh, sorry. I'm watching the stream from YouTube, and I'm a little bit behind. Anyway, sorry.
I'm sharing it on Discord.
I am, but I want to keep my eyes on the chat, so I was looking at the wrong screen. My bad. Anyway, what was I saying? When it comes to trends, people get tired of trends, but if DC gets to a point where it doesn't feel like making risks anymore, because it's too secure, that's when everyone's going to shout, oh, superhero fatigue! Oh, everyone's superhero fatigue! No, everyone's just risk-averse fatigued. How about that?
I have a bit of a different perspective. I don't think it's the trends that have killed Marvel. It's the fact that it's shit. these trends are lazy. Like that's the problem. When people shit on things like, I don't know, like what's one of the latest Marvel schlock?
WandaVision. Let's just throw that out there.
No, WandaVision was like hot off the heels of
Captain
Endgame.
America 4.
All right, Captain America 4. Captain America 4. I haven't seen it, but as far as my understanding goes, it's a bad movie. And it's basically just kind of it's feeding on top of a lot of people's previous perceptions of the MCU losing its like power. It used to have a complete dominance over cinemas.
From what I understand about Captain America 4, it's like it's another one that's like it's cannibalizing on like the previous Captain America films that people liked. It's like these films. Please watch it.
Please watch our film. It's just a little indie film.
I don't think it's the trends that kill. I think it's the laziness, because they think that just putting these trends together immediately makes it good.
Yeah. I think that there's like an interview of Gunn like talking about it. Like he doesn't say Marvel directly. Like he just gets the question of do you think people are tired of like, do you think there's superhero fatigue? He's just like, I don't think there's superhero fatigue. I think there's mediocre movie fatigue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mediocre movies that somehow still do well at the box office.
No, not anymore.
No.
Oh yeah, didn't Ironheart fell?
Ironheart was a TV show, not a movie, so we don't know the numbers for it, other than like how people publicly perceive it, which isn't very good as far as I've seen.
In terms of the films, Captain America was a flop.
Yeah. Like we only directly know things like box office numbers. We don't know how, because streaming keep everything private. We don't have any numbers for how successful things are on streaming.
Yeah, Captain America was a flop. Deadpool and Wolverine last year was a success, but that wasn't because of Marvel. That was because they'll just milking on the nostalgia of the Fox universe.
Well, yeah, just Wolverine. That's basically all they were doing.
Yeah, like
milking it.
And it's also it's disconnected from the rest of the Marvel slot pretty much. There was, I think the film before that was The Marvels. That was a flop. Quantumania underperformed, I believe. Like,
oh, yep.
Like the only successful film in the last 3 years has probably been like Guardians 3.
People notice the trend of these things aren't making me feel good anymore, so therefore I'm just not going to watch them. Like that's where the fatigue is coming from, as Gunn said. We're tired of bad and mediocre movies, which is why people just aren't going to watch these movies anymore. Because why go to other movies if it's so expensive, and you know it's no longer the event it used to be. It's a bit like, maybe a good example to go to is Doctor Who. I think the main reason why Doctor Who tailed off is because people weren't fatigued with Doctor Who. They were fatigued with the fact that there was so many bad and mediocre stories that they weren't enjoying anymore. And Doctor Who burned bright for so long that it just kind of it fell out of the public eye for a lot of people. Because when it came in the UK, in 2005, it came in really fucking strong, because I remember have memories on the playground at school. That's all anyone would talk about was Doctor Who, and I've talked with a lot of people who were like 10, 20, and even 30 at the time of those movies, the show releasing. And it was even the talk of like offices everywhere. Like everyone was talking about Doctor Who at the time, but because it just became more and more tired of the mediocre stories in between the really good ones, people just stopped paying attention to it. Yeah. And I think that's just where Marvel is and where we are with superheroes at the moment, and the way cinema is kind of viewed, because we have just been bombarded with tons and tons of schlock.
Yeah, like, it's like...
Oh, yeah.
It's also just the fact that this shit is just pumped out as well. I think also just accelerates the process where... Like, I'm sure eventually... like these it's quite the fact they're mediocre and also just they're not good. Well, that's stupid. They're mediocre and they're just being pumped out constantly. So it's just an endless like flurry of them. You just tire out of it. Meanwhile, like even though again, like like Jurassic World's doing really well, even though none of those films have been good since the first one, but they still make money. I think eventually they will peter out, but unlike the superhero slot, they space them out every couple of years. Long enough for you to miss fucking dinosaurs.
I've got to get out of here.
Jackson Vohe says, "Hey Shiny, I might have missed it, but what's your defense of Lex getting defeated by selfies?"
I don't really see the problem with it specifically. Though the problem is if you kind of simplify anything down, it sounds a little stupid. Like if you're being that like reductive, anything can seem really stupid. So there has to be an actual problem with the concept. And I haven't heard anyone actually critique the concept, but I'll talk about it. So, walking away from the movie, we get a very clear sense of Eve and the fact that she is not in a happy situation with Lex at all. She is only staying with him out of fear. And so she gets around this, and so she's trying to get out of this situation, and she does this by taking selfies all the time and using that to collect information. And it's sort of Lex's hubris, and no one really questions it, because Lex just expects, he doesn't really think highly of Eve. He thinks that she's dumb and isn't worth paying attention to. She's only really there to look good in his arms, and I assume to be there in bed, but obviously the movie doesn't go anywhere close to it, implying their sexual relationship, but I assume that's probably all he wants from her. So he underestimates her, and she uses the fact that people expect her to be taking selfies to gather information against him so that she can be freed of him. And that's, well, exactly what happens. She uses she gives the information to Jimmy because the one thing I'll give is I think there needed to be more with Jimmy and Eve to make that reasonable. Because it kind of seems that Eve doesn't really have any reason to like Jimmy. And I think it would have been...
I think she was basically using him as an escape plan.
But it also seems like she does have a very genuine affection for him. So either you could have gone it with two ways. Either she was manipulating him as an escape plan, or the way I would have probably gone with it is that the reason why she wants to be with Jimmy is because even if he doesn't view her as in like wanting a relationship, he doesn't want a relationship with her. She views him as someone who is actually at least cares about her. And I think that should be the reason why because she's surrounded by a man and a group of people that couldn't give a shit whether she lives or dies. She is only based on the value of how good she looks to Lex.
Right.
And so to actually have someone that cares about her for who she is, I think would have made her a lot more, her turn a lot more reasonable.
You try and get past me, bats, and I will.
I also thought it was part of the joke because he's like super basic and normal, but yet everybody's like treating him like like he's just like the hottest thing on the planet. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah,
I loved
all the
it.
girls keep fawning over it. I think that's the movie kind of hanging your lantern on, it's like lampshading the what happens with Eve, because it's saying that all the girls for some reason are just like really into him, and like even Lois is like, why is this a thing, Jimmy?
Even he's confused.
But
there are just times where he just doesn't know why, and he's like, okay, why not? Yeah, okay.
But even though it's lampshaded by the movie, I don't think it's enough. And I'll give the movie that critique, where I think it needed a bit more for, not even necessarily more in terms of expanding what they had. Like, it didn't need more screen time. More altering, exploring the ideas they had by altering the contexts.
Now that was unexpected. Who'd have figured a deranged
I know.
murderer
After meeting Catherine, I could buy that. Hot chicks with like twins like him.
Too easy.
It depends on the
yeah.
girl. Like, I think women tend to have a more diverse taste in men than. And
We are
Men have
simple people.
men have diverse tastes in women. Like I think I
Yeah.
myself are quite a testament to that. I just tend to like women. I listen. Eerie's like
Connoisseur of women.
I'm a connoisseur of women. I like them all races or creeds. The only ones that tend to be not really my type are women who are quite shallow and fake.
Uh-huh.
But even then, I think like generally it is a little bit simpler in terms of tits, ass, pretty face. But women are a lot more diverse in what they consider attractive. But they will tend to have types.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't know. Should I out Eerie's type here on stream?
Uh-oh.
In front of everyone?
Do it. Go ahead. I forgot what it...
Strangely, all her types are either basically me or, and by basically me I mean generic white guy with somewhat like brown dark hair and with glasses.
Glasses. I don't know what it's up with the glasses. It's always damn glasses. I don't know why.
Or it's a daddy figure.
Yeah. Optimus Prime.
But not everyone likes that. Some chicks like really muscular men, some like more effeminate men. It's just what some individuals.
The bad boys.
Yes, just what people prefer.
Listen to me carefully.
Jackson Bo, he says, so Shiny is the IRL Jimmy Olsen.
Come any closer. The room crimson with her blood.
And then we have C, who will howl at every woman that shows up in a film.
Is he like that?
Now that was unexpected. Who'd have figured a
I can either
Jackson-
confirm or deny.
Jackson says, don't forget that Optimus will always be her true love, Shiny.
But I'll say, Jason, does that? Oh, Jackson, sorry. Does that explain the selfie thing? Because I have a critique of it. It's not the critique of what everyone else is saying. I don't find it stupid in concept. I just think it needed more to make us believe why she would specifically want Jimmy. Which I think they could very easily do with the time that they had. Again, either very clearly state that she's trying to manipulate Jimmy for her own purposes, or you have it so that she likes Jimmy because he likes him for who she is. But he likes her for who she is and not just for her looks.
Also, I wanted to point out, I needed to point this out, I just remembered. He's a lot shorter than she is. And I think that's really I think that's really endearing and really funny at the same time. Because it's like, I love this joke. I love this joke where it's just everyone's head over heels for Jimmy. And like, nobody knows really why. He's not like particularly like super special, super hot, or super anything. Everyone just really all the girls just really want this guy. And his biggest fan is someone who's taller than he is. It's so funny and also so cute at the same time. I love it. I love it. It's
I sometimes wish I could be a short king, so women's boobs with my head height. But, you know.
All of the short guys who will hear a 6'2" man say that and cope and seethe about being short. Oh gosh.
Well, you see, the workaround is that you find a woman that's taller than you, but the problem with being, 6'2" is that there's not really many women that are taller than you.
Yeah.
It's rare. And so
especially your Latina girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who's like a head lower.
Yeah.
There's short, and then there's Latina short. There's tall, and then there's shiny tall. Tyler Preston says Wolverine is a short king. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Except in the movies.
I've had the soundtrack of Superman 2025 stuck in my head. And I love Punk Rocker. I think Punk Rocker is fucking great, especially for the scene that it's in at the very end, with the twist with his parents' message. It's just so fucking perfect for the moment, especially with that. Like, that's the real punk rock, being optimistic and hopeful and kind and empathetic.
Ah, yeah, it was really sweet. I love that. Maybe the punk rock was the friends we made along.
I think it's just nice to see like a good Lois and Clark relationship for once.
Oracle.
Oh yeah, it was really, really sweet and refreshing. They really liked each other.
Absolute nothing burgers, which were the previous ones.
Yeah, the relationship we get between Lois and Superman and Clark is very like they both have inadequacies, and they both have issues to work through, but they do genuinely care about each other. And what kind of highlights their own inadequacies is the fact that Lois isn't very good at relationships. She's very good at her job, but she's not good with around other people, which is obviously what she says. Meanwhile, Clark is not very good at, like, they're very different people, and he takes it very personally when she's treating him as a reporter, because everything almost has this air of accusation, and he's very deep and caring about what he thinks, and he's like, well, you don't really think that. Surely, there's no way you can think this. And that leads to his frustrations.
Oh yeah.
But
no,
then,
Superman, but this is something a reporter would want to know.
And then afterwards, he turns around and says, sorry for arguing, and they get that nice little scene where they talk about how they're different from each other, but because she's always really skeptical and he's really trusting all the time.
Yeah, it was super, super sweet. I loved it. I love it so much. One example that I like to pull up as like a bad romance. It's not bad. It's just so bland that it's bad. Shiny, I swear. Is the one between Batman and Catwoman? Is it Catwoman or Black Cat? I forgot.
Catwoman. Black Cat's
Catwoman.
Marvel.
Spider-Man. They keep doing this stupid cat thing, and it's so confusing. Anyway, it just feels like there's actually no chemistry in it, and I was specifically talking about the Batman with Robert Pattinson. That one specifically. There was no chemistry in that. It just happens, and then the movie continues. And I don't know. It just didn't feel like there was anything real. It just felt like, well, we have one hot actor and one hot actress. Well, what if we made them kiss? No, write it to make it work.
I remember that specifically Doomcock had it out for that movie, and he had like some really weird and like clearly untrue rumors from behind the scenes. Like there was one where that claimed the actress, like was Zoe Kravitz, was made pregnant by Robert Pattinson because they had sex on the Batmobile, and it's like, well, no.
But Shiny, don't you see? Kathleen Kennedy is after his 400th announcement that Kathleen Kennedy is out. She's finally out, so he's right about everything.
She's finally done for, guys.
War in Lucasfilm, and Jon Favreau won. Goodbye, checkmate, liberal.
What did this war consist of? Like literal lightsaber battles, like throwing grenades in the office.
Lightsaber fight in Lucasfilm.
An internal war in Lucasfilm. My gosh, love that.
Begun the Lucas War has.
It just sounds like so much like he wants it to be taken seriously, so he just called it the Lucasfilm War. So stupid.
Yeah,
I love it.
Was it like a civil war in
Lucasfilm Civil War, and the moment anything goes against his narrative, he's like, well, he had to say that, or, and there's some other bollocks. Even though there's not a world I could, like, Dave Filoni saved his reputation somewhat by just keeping his head down, not saying anything stupid, and basically just managing to make things that were mediocre and occasionally, like, a little good, and having his name plastered to them. It's just created this really bizarre narrative around him that he was like, oh, secretly an ally. Because people like to project things onto people they like. Like, if you have a celebrity you like, they more often than not people will come up with positions because they'll project themselves onto them.
Jags and Bo, he says, I think Superman's frustration would have made more sense if he hadn't already been Superman for 3 years. He comes off as very inexperienced.
Well, he is inexperienced. Like, 3 years is not a long time to be a hero, especially in terms of, like, Superman continuity. And even then, his emotional... a lack of self-control... I don't think he has a lack of self-control. This story is, in this world, the farthest he's ever been pushed. It's Lex trying to break him down using the world around him. And when he first lashes out at Lois because of her reporting, the way it was described by Gunn is that it's like a fireman coming home at the end of his workday, showing work that he would never show to anyone who would doing his professional job. Because when you come home, you let your hair down, and you feel more comfortable to air these things around people you feel comfortable with. And on top of that, he feels like it's a bit of a betrayal because she's treating this very clinically with accusational tones, and she's someone he very much cares about. And I think that's perfectly reasonable for the character of Superman. As well as with the rest of the film, we then see that he's put very emotionally off balance because his entire purpose in life has just been twisted on its head. It's very much a story about his crisis of faith. It's nowhere near as deep as something like Daredevil Season 3, where his crisis of faith comes from being beaten down over and over again over the course of his entire life. But he had a purpose throughout his life. He thought he had a higher calling that he found a lot of meaning in. And all of a sudden, that calling has been ripped out from under him, and he's having these questions of, like, well, I'm not what I thought I was, and I found meaning in this. And he realizes by the end of the film, thanks to his own father, that the meaning he found in it had nothing to do with his parents' message, but what he thought it meant. Because Clark is a very deep down, kind and empathetic person. He wanted it to be to help people. And the whole focus is on Superman's humanity and sort of like realizing that he is, in every way that matters, he's human. He's not the product of Kryptonians, he's the product of his parents. And it's not up to the parents to decide who he is. And that's why the twist at the end where he plays the message hits so hard, because it is the accumulation of that arc that he sees himself as a product of his parents. If that's the best way to really describe it. Which is a constant theme throughout all of Superman, not just this story. That it's just that the changes this makes to the Superman lore makes it hit much harder in terms of contrast. Because if you have moral Kryptonian parents and moral parents on Earth, it doesn't offer as much of a harsh contrast.
Yeah. Tyler Preston also says, if he's been doing this for years, and Clark should have been sort of used to these type of questioning, especially when he's a journalist himself.
but this is explicitly the first time that he is being questioned as Superman by someone that is not him. The story very much shows that, hey, it's kind of weird that Clark Kent keeps getting all these interviews with Superman. I think you should... I really think you should be interviewed by someone else. And he's very confident. He's like, well, I'm very media savvy. I can kind of go along with this. But what, again, makes him pushed on by that moment is the fact that I don't even think it's necessarily because he's never really been questioned before. It's the fact that it's someone that he cares about very deeply that is saying this with an accusational tone. He's someone who's very empathetic. Lois is someone who's very clinical. So, of course, she's going to be treating him clinically, and he doesn't quite get that within that moment. And they have been dating for 3 months, so it is quite early in their relationship. But we don't know how long they've known each other, specifically. She obviously knows who really is, and I would be a bit skeptical that after 3 months of dating that he would reveal that. So maybe there was a long friendship before that point, in which they got to know each other, and then that was discovered at some point down the road. Maybe that's just assumptions.
Yeah. There was one thing about this film that pissed me off, though, and when I noticed it really pissed me off. So in the opening scene, where it was Superman, blah, blah, and then it switches to this guy, glasses, and I was so pissed off that it did not click for me that was Clark Kent, because it looked like a completely different guy. I thought it was Noah Centineo playing another guy, and I'm like, hang on, is this another character? And then it got close to his face, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually fell for the paper-thin disguise of Clark Kent with the stupid glasses. And the glasses, and his hair is a bit curly, and he's like putting on a D, all that stuff. I cannot believe I was bamboozled by the disguise. It's so, I feel so stupid. But at the same time, it's, what the, yeah, anyway. I thought it was a completely different guy. And I used to clown on people that are like, oh, they should know, he's just wearing glasses. It fooled me. I could see it fooling everybody else. Damn it. Jackson Voorhees also says, I don't know, they also show that Clark will his identity easily if he trusts them, like the entire Justice Gang. Oh, yeah. You were gonna say, Shiny?
I was going to mention the hypno glasses as well, which I don't even necessarily think is required. I think it's kind of attempting to prematurely defend itself against the glasses thing, which has been memed on a lot.
Oh, they were serious? What? They were serious about that? That the glasses hypnotize people?
I assume so, because Green Lantern, both Lois and Green Lantern treat it as like they're a real thing.
I thought they were bullshitting. I thought they were like totally like getting one over on Lois by mentioning something that's super not real.
She says that she knows that it's a real thing, and they mention it, so I assume it's real. So I have a problem with it. I just don't think it's very necessary. But so what was the point with? Oh yeah, with him being such a Justice Gang. I think it emphasizes the fact that he's very trusting, especially of these people who are also heroes. Whether I think that's a good creative choice for Superman is another story. I think I did question it a little bit. At most, he's probably known these people 3 years. But I'd say I'd kind of view it neutrally. Like, I don't see a big problem with it, like that it would destroy the story.
Yeah, he's a golden retriever of a man. I love. So, yeah. The hypno glasses worked on me too.
I think I'm fine with the idea of the hypno glasses. I think, yeah, it makes sense. It's just one of those things, just like, I don't think you need it. Like, I'll say, for all my, I've got my issues with the 70s films, but I think, like, Christopher Reeves does a really good job of making, like, Clark looks like a different person. Like, it's not just the glasses; it's in his performance. He's very hunchback. He's got a different hairstyle. Like the way he expresses himself, his mannerisms, his expressions. Like,
yeah, he's a lot more
he feels-
nerdy.
yeah, he's very different. So it's one of those, like, I can buy that people just don't put two and two together.
Yeah, because you don't expect the nerdy guy that's hunchback with glasses to be Superman. Because, like, part of what the way people put these things together is through expectations. And that's something which I think Invincible talks about. Like, it's quite a lot. If you don't expect to see someone, you don't see them. Like, celebrities can sometimes just walk in public just because people don't ever think to try and register those patterns. So they do get noticed.
You know, Henry Cavill, it's just glasses and, like, they mess up his hair a bit.
Yeah.
Tyler Preston says the hypnotist glasses were a thing in the comics, so I'll give Gunn props for doing his homework.
Well, there's comics aren't at the end all be all in terms of that.
No,
but
comics can be really goofy and stupid.
Yeah. But I'm fine with the existence of the hypno glasses. And let's go talk about the depiction of Clark. I didn't quite notice this until she pointed out to me that there is actually kind of three Clarks. There is how Clark represents himself in the Daily Planet. There is how Clark represents himself as Superman, and the real Clark of who he is kind of in between that. So we kind of see the real Clark when he's with Lois, but when he's as Superman or as just regular old Clark Kent in the Daily Planet, he seems to sort of like disconnect himself from certain parts of his personality.
Mm-hmm.
To make him a bit different when he's doing these roles.
Jackson Bohees also says the glasses are probably that Gunn refused to add the red trunks to the costume unless he could figure out an in-universe reason to wear them. Said reason was that they're Why are they supposed to look silly?
I never really thought that the red trunks look silly. I've always thought that they've been a really good balancing act for the design. Because if you don't have them, it just looks like a ton of blue.
Yeah, like overwhelmingly.
Like it is overwhelmingly blue. Why?
And the design comes from like the figure of like a strong man.
I do think the trunks are a little long in this one, and I do think the material is a little thick for my taste, but I do like the suit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The suit has grown on me. I still think I kind of prefer the suit in the 70s films and like Smallville and the other TV shows, rather than the more sort of armored, tactical approach that we've gone for, like, you know, this incarnation, the Man of Steel one. I think the worst good suit though still has to go to Superman Returns. Terrible suit.
Fuck that cape. Looks like an edible fucking sweet.
Leather like cape. It's like a brownish red with like really like these really like thick boots with a belt, with like a yellow belt that has like the fucking Superman logo symbol on it, and then you have like this really pathetic like small actual like symbol on his chest.
I like the...
really... No, go ahead, I'm done.
I was gonna say, I like the idea that James Gunn sat down in an office and just had the 2006 Superman Returns and just said, listen, this is not... We're doing the exact opposite of this. We're not doing this.
Yeah, like, I'm not a big fan of the Man of Steel armored suit either, but man, it is way better than the Superman Return suit. That's just rock bottom.
I wouldn't describe it as armored. I think the Superman as a Man of Steel suit is trying to be more like alien material.
Yeah, like sort of scaly.
Ah.
Yeah, it is. It's got this really weird texture to it that isn't like human fabric in terms of the vibe it's going for.
Yeah, like I don't hate it, but I'm not a big fan of it either.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either.
I think
too
especially
much blue.
Too much blue. And also the
Why are
blue's
you
really
blue?
dark at points, like especially like it's weird. It's inconsistent with the type of blue they use because there's some shots where the blue looks really nice, and there's other shots like when it's like in the courtroom in BVS where it almost looks like pitch black.
Why have you had like the X-ray vision on this time? I'm so sorry, Sam. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm trying to find these fingerprints, but they seem to end here. I'm trying to figure out where the fuck I'm supposed to go now.
I'm sorry, Sam. What were you saying?
Yeah, like I'm just saying with the Man of Steel, like sort of like DC EU Snyder suit, there's times where the blue looks really nice. In like some shots. But then there's other shots, like let's say when he's in like the courtroom in BVS, where like his suit is like pitch black and it looks really bad. I think it's the courtroom scene. It could be another one. Like one of the scenes where he's in a really dark room. Just you cannot tell it's blue. But then you also have the problem of like when you artificially make it bluer or brighter in the Joss Whedon Justice League, you can see like where like the fake abs are, like they turn into like these weird like white patches. And it looks terrible.
Also, Jexenbo, he says, Shiny, I'm bored of Batman. Can you play the train game next time? Pretty please.
You know what? Fine, I'll play the train game next time.
We just decided to play Batman because it's relevant to DC and the Superman and all that stuff. Yeah.
I was originally thinking DC Lego superheroes, but Eerie suggested Arkham, and I was like, okay, fine, we'll play Arkham.
There isn't a good Superman game.
Yeah, that was my fault. Tyler Preston says, blame the new 52 for that costume. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't like the 52 costume. I think my favorite version of the suit still is like the 70s and TV shows because like it looks goofy and it looks like a costume and all that, but it's just like that's the point. It's meant to be sort of the opposite of Batman. It's meant to be sort of like disarming. It's like he doesn't need to, like the armor or like padding to like he doesn't need to be intimidating because he's a fucking god to us. Like he's Superman. I like the idea of like his costume being a bit disarming. Because that's his character.
Are there any good Superman video games? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were continuing.
No, I'm done.
So somewhere new.
I don't think there is any good Superman games. There might be some good arcade ones, but actual video games. No.
There were rumors that we were going to get a Superman game, but it never went anywhere. It was supposed to be developed by Rockstar, and there were a few teasers, but I think they were fake. I don't think we actually got anything.
And we got the Suicide Squad game instead.
Oh, what a great upgrade!
Yeah. Yay. Like I said, I think Superman Returns was meant to have a tie-in game that was a bit like open world, a bit like like Arkham City, newer Spider-Man games. But at the time, the Raimi tie-in games was meant to be a bit like that, but that went nowhere. That didn't get past concept. Or no, I think there's like test development of it, like test footage, but it didn't go past that really, which is a shame because I think that could have been a cool game. I would have much rather had that. I would have much rather play that game than watch Superman Returns again.
Also, I'm just gonna say wood.
What? Bonk.
Those cries don't quite sound right. They sound like something else.
Shiny! Shut the hell up. Bonk.
That guy's having fun with that doll.
You need to get me out of this cell.
Freaky.
I need it out there. I can help you. I'm up here.
Just letting y'all know, we are coming up on 4 hours of streaming.
That has kind of flown by.
Yep.
Alright, so I suppose we should maybe start to wrap up on our thoughts. And if there's any other things to bring up before finishing.
There's 20 minutes till we reach 4 hours.
So we've talked about Clark, talked about Lois, we've talked about their relationship, we've talked about Lex Luthor, we've talked about
I guess
Superman's
like
arc.
this DC universe. We talked a lot about that, and its sort of potential going forward.
I don't really know anything about the production of the Supergirl stuff, though I think there is a lot of potential with how they've set up the House of L.
Yeah.
Because
I thought that was
I'm
like
really...
the Fortress of Solitude.
What?
Isn't like the crystal thing the Fortress of Solitude?
Yes.
What's the House of L?
The House of L is like it's a family. Basically, they the way their system works is it's a system of houses. And that's the family.
Okay.
So with we don't know if all the Kryptonians are bastards, but at least we know his parents were, which Kara would absolutely be aware of. So I feel like they do have to explore the fact that Kara probably knew all about his parents and just never told him.
Your terminal has been destroyed.
And I feel like there's also a lot that we can explore with Kara as a response to losing everything that she knew when she was a child. But we'll just have to see where it goes.
Yeah, because I do like.
I really like Supergirl, the
set
first
up.
impression.
Yeah, I like
sorry.
first impressions are good. Yeah, I'm just agreeing. Like, yeah, I think first impressions are good. I like the actress they got. I like the suit, and I do like this sort of like she's like a drunk, and like
she's such a teenager.
I think there's a lot of potential with that. It's just a case of like, what are they gonna do? Guess it could be
Jason
fun to
Bowie.
talk about,
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. So I just want to chat.
You started.
So it's just look at that chat. It's just like, what was it? Talk about the best character in the movie, Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, Jason Bowie says talk about Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific was so fun, dude. Oh my gosh.
I love how like sick of everyone else's shit he is. I think that's kind of funny. Like the way that he looks at Superman when he wants to save the creature, like, you fucking for real. This guy's like, oh yeah, I want to help you, and he's just, I'm Mr. fucking Terrific. Shut the fuck up. I'm fixing this. I don't have time for this. And
dude, I
the way
love the post-credit scene with him. It's just like the lot, and just like Superman's like you haven't perfectly aligned it back together, the reality, like and he just flips his shit. It's like, what do you want me to do? Take it apart and put it back together again?
I didn't think I would love Mr. Terrific because that's such a corny name, dude. And I thought he would be like a throwaway, like, I don't know, Z-list hero, but he was actually pretty dope. I liked him a lot. The scene where they like break into, not really break into, but like go to that one like desert prison place where they had the pocket dimension. That was so fun, dude. Like, that was so fun to watch, Mr. Terrific. And also his orbs. Were they orbs, or I don't know what they called. T-spheres. Okay. The T-spheres and Crypto playing with the T-spheres. That was adorable. I love that.
I thought that was a fun setup for how we defeat Ultraman.
Yeah. So cute. And like Mr. Terrific, and on his face is just a giant black T. I thought that was gonna be so corny and lame, but in reality, he doesn't care. He just doesn't give a shit. He's like, fuck it, I'm just Mr. Terrific. That's it. He doesn't care. He's like not big into emotions, sure. And him naming himself Mr. Terrific, it makes sense now. He doesn't give a fuck. He's such a lovable type of guy.
Yeah, I would like to see more of it. Terrific. I also like Guy Gardner a lot. How he plays himself as a dickhead, but he's still, he'll like coming to help when needed.
Yeah, he's still a good person, which is basically what he's in the comics.
Yeah.
What's it? Oh, sorry.
Don't get a lot of Hawk Girl. I'm just saying, you don't get a lot of her, but what we get of her is that she's sort of, I guess, a little psychopathic. Like,
Yeah, they don't really show much for Hawk Girl. I think it's funny that people complain that a character called Hawk Girl is screaming like a hawk, in which I don't necessarily agree with them going that direction, but I don't think it's out of the world of possibility that you can make Hawk Girl scream like a hawk.
Yeah.
It's kind of bewildering how people are so against that for some reason.
What's really funny was when I saw Hawk Girl, I was like, I've seen this actress before. Who was she? Like, I saw on the tip of my tongue. I don't know who she is. And then it hit me. She played as Dora the Explorer in the Dora the Explorer movie. I thought that was hilarious. And she played as like an old Dora. I like that movie a lot. It's such a corny movie. I love it.
Also,
but yeah, she did a great Hawk Girl.
Just to bring back to Supergirl, Tyler Preston says Supergirl shouldn't be able to get drunk. They actually explicitly explain this, that she can get drunk because she exclusively goes to Red Sun planets so that her metabolism isn't it basically is compromised.
Did they say that did they explain that in the movie?
Yeah, they literally say that. They when she turns up, he explains to one of the Superman robots that she goes to planets. It's a party in planets of red suns because she can't get drunk under a yellow sun.
Got it. Okay. That's kind of funny.
That just reminds me in Superman 3, which is another really terrible Superman film. That's admittedly better than 4. They don't explain it, but like Superman is capable of getting drunk because of reasons, and the plot of that film is that he gets exposed to like a synthetic kryptonite. Its effect is that it like depowers him. It just makes him evil, and by evil it just makes him a dick. So he like corrects
Bully
the Leaning
Maguire.
Tower of Pisa. Yeah, he's
Bully
Bully Maguire.
Maguire, Superman.
He corrects the Leaning Tower of Pisa. He like flicks peanuts at like bottles on the bar. It's really funny. He wears like eyeliner.
Jackson Vo, he says, Mr. Terrific makes me want to go out in blackface like a proper badass. Oh my gosh. Cursed.
That fucking blackface dude?
A black guy doing blackface? Crazy. Jackson Vo, he says, it is comic accurate for Guy and the Justice Gang to be goofy and not take it seriously. And I think they're based on the comic Justice Society, where they're basically a loser team. That's kind of cool. I like the concept of like a corporate justice gang. Like they're corporate, like they're paid to do this. Like, this is their day job. They don't care. They will kill the monster. They don't care about being super moral. They'll be ethical. You know, where they're still heroes. They're still saving people, but there's a selfish end to it.
There's also a very clear dynamic when they're fighting the kaiju. When so Clark is like very obsessed with like saving all the people, and it's like, can you just be a little bit more careful? Like, you're causing a lot of destruction here. Especially like when they defeat the monster, he's about to fall onto a crowd of people, and it's onto Clark to like pick it up to make sure it's not going to fall on people, and he kind of alters its path.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a phenomenal movie. I loved it.
I really liked it too, and I'm
very happy
curious
with it.
to see how this universe will go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to hopefully find out where this universe is going. I'm very excited. I'm immediately getting the art book the moment it's out. I'm immediately gonna fucking watch this again on streaming. I'm a little bit tempted to go to the cinema a third time, but and that'll be a complete first for me. But we'll just have to see where it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Where's this aesthetic I've seen you be with a film?
It's a good movie, and
yeah.
I just killed that guy.
Do you want me to start wrapping it up?
Yeah, we can start wrapping it.
Okie
Just to finish off the thoughts of Superman. The reason why I'm just so excited about it is not only because it's a good film. I'm just it feels really cathartic after so long of talking about Man of Steel and having to deal with like a really shitty knockoff DC like attempting to be Marvel for quite some time. It just feels good to have good movies about characters that I care about, characters that I grew up with the cartoons. Like I grew up with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I grew up with the Batman cartoon, and I grew up with Batman Beyond. So these characters do have a very nice a place in my heart, and I look forward to seeing what happens with this Batman as well, wherever that will go. And that's why I'm saying not only is it a good movie, it's just it also appeals to me a lot with my own personal views of optimism, and also I just care about the character a lot. I grew up wanting to be Batman and being inspired by Batman, and now I'm an adult, I feel inspired by Superman, and
we've come full circle. Any final comments, Sam?
No, I wanted to have a good time with. I just wanted a good Superman film finally, and I got it.
Hell yeah! All right, I think we should wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Jack, for joining us on our talk of Superman, as well as playing Arkham Asylum. What is this, Arkham? Batman Arkham.
This is Arkham Asylum.
Okay, Batman Arkham Asylum. Thank you so much for all of your donations. We very much appreciate it, and we hope to see you again in the next stream. So, see you later.
Oh, also, before we all go, sometime this week, possibly, my video on Daredevil Born Again will release, so you'll have that to look forward to.